legends of Zhuan, there exists a woman only known as Zhuxin. With lantern in hand, her butterflies flutter with purpose, seeking wishes to fulfill. Some say she grants the wishes of children with childlike whimsy. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Zhuxin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi. Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Eliminated.
Realme 13 Plus.
Among the legends of Zhuan, there exists a woman only known as Zhuxin. With lantern in hand, her butterflies flutter with purpose, seeking wishes to fulfill. Some say she grants the wishes of children with childlike whimsy. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Zhuxin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi. Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Thử ngay.
My butterflies aren't so gentle.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân, gói cước Lux của FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Eliminated.
Realme 13 Plus.
Among the legends of Zhuan, there exists a woman only known as Zhuxin. With lantern in hand, her butterflies flutter with purpose, seeking wishes to fulfill. Some say she grants the wishes of children with childlike whimsy. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Zhuxin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi. Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Thử ngay.
My butterflies aren't so gentle. My butterflies aren't so gentle.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân, gói cước Lux của FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Eliminated.
Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, chỉ còn ít phút nữa, vòng chung kết khu vực Mekong Challenge Cup Mekong Mccm sẽ chính thức bắt đầu. Xin mời quý vị và các bạn tiến vào khu vực sân khấu, ổn định chỗ ngồi để cùng đến với chương trình. Và để chương trình diễn ra tốt đẹp, rất mong các bạn chuyển toàn bộ điện thoại sang chế độ rung hoặc im lặng, không di chuyển trên khu vực sân khấu và trước các máy quay trong suốt quá trình diễn ra trận đấu. Xin chân thành cảm ơn.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mccm Regional Grand Finale of the Challenge Cup Mccm MCCM is about to begin in a few minutes. Please come closer, take your seats, and enjoy every wonderful moment. To ensure our event runs smoothly, please switch your phone to vibrate and silent mode. Refrain from moving in front of stage and cameras during the competition. Thank you very much.
She grants the wishes of children with childlike whimsy. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment, to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Jushin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi. Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Thử ngay.
butterflies aren't so gentle. My butterflies aren't so gentle.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân, gói cước Lux của FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand finale of the MLBB Cup Mccm MCCM. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Do, and my beautiful co-host is
Tâm Vy.
We are so excited to be the grand finale of the MLBB Cup Mccm MCCM. First of all, we would like to extend a cheerful welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for taking your time to come together.
Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã đến với vòng chung kết của MLBB Cup Mekong MCCM. Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, thể thao điện tử Esports trong khu vực Mekong đã có những bước tiến vô cùng vượt bậc, thu hút đông đảo người hâm mộ trẻ tuổi trên khắp các quốc gia. Và sự phát triển này không chỉ dừng lại ở các cuộc thi trong nước mà còn được nâng tầm khi đội tuyển trong khu vực liên tục tham gia và ghi danh tại các trận đấu quốc tế lớn như SEA Games, Asian Games hay các giải Esports toàn cầu khác, khẳng định được vị thế của khu vực Mekong trên đấu trường thể thao điện tử thế giới. Và trong đó, Mobile Legends BanggMobile đã trở thành một trong những bộ môn Esports được yêu thích và phát triển mạnh mẽ nhất tại khu vực Mekong. Bởi bộ môn này đòi hỏi những chiến thuật và kỹ năng từ các vận động viên nhằm tạo ra một sân chơi cho các vận động viên tài năng, cũng như tôn vinh tinh thần đoàn kết giữa các quốc gia trong khu vực sông Mekong. Công ty cổ phần dịch vụ trực tuyến FPT, FPT Online, Hội thể thao điện tử giải trí Việt Nam Viresa và nhà phát hành Funtap Games đã tổ chức giải đấu MCCM để tìm ra hai đội tuyển xuất sắc nhất sẽ tiến vào trận thi đấu vô địch thế giới M6 Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the Mekong region, esports had made remarkable progress, attracting a lot of young, talented fans from various countries. This development has extended beyond national tournaments. In current years, teams from the Mekong region continue to participate and make their mark in major international events such as the SEA Games, Asian Games, and lower esports competitions, affirming the region's position in the world of esports. Mobile Legends BanggMobile is one of the most beloved game and rapidly growing esports title. In the Mekong region, it requires strategy and skill from its players. FPT Online, in collaboration with the Vietnam Recreational and the Legion Esports Association VRESA Funtap Game, we are proud of organize the MLBB Cup Mekong to select the top 2 teams, the champion and runner-up, who will represent the region at the M6 Championship.
Và để đồng hành cùng giải đấu lần này, không thể nào không kể đến đó là quý đơn vị tài trợ. Xin chân thành cảm ơn Realme, đơn vị tài trợ thiết bị thi đấu với điện thoại Realme 13+5G, sở hữu chip Dimensity 7300, tiến trình 4 nanomet, trải nghiệm chơi game mượt mà ở mức 90 fps với màn hình OLED tần số quét 120Hz.
We are honored to say thank you to our sponsor, Realme, the sponsor providing competition devices with the Realme 13 Plus 5G, equipped with the Dimensity 7300 chip built on a 4nm process. It offers a smooth gaming experience at 90 FPS on an OLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate.
Công ty cổ phần viễn thông FPT, đối tác cung cấp đường truyền Internet chính thức của sự kiện. FPT Telecom cam kết mang đến trải nghiệm kết nối ổn định, phủ sóng rộng khắp và bảo mật cao, giúp các tuyển thủ thi đấu thăng hoa.
Partner FPT Telecommunication Joint Stock Company provides the official internet connection for the event. FPT Telecom is committed to experiencing stable connection, widespread coverage everywhere, and high security, helping players flourish.
Nước cốt gà Brand có chứa carosin được chứng minh khoa học, hỗ trợ sự tập trung, tăng cường sức khỏe trí não.
Brand's chicken essence containing carnosine is scientifically proven to support focus and enhance brand health.
Vian Travel, công ty lữ hành top đầu Việt Nam, đưa bạn đi muôn nơi, khám phá thế giới theo cách của riêng bạn.
Vian Travel is the top travel company in Vietnam, taking you everywhere, exploring the world in your own way.
Một lần nữa xin được chào mừng tất cả quý vị và các bạn đang đến với vòng chung kết của khu vực Mekong AM Challenge Cup Mekong MCCM. Chương trình hiện đang được phát trực tiếp trên landing page của VN Express Esports VMC, trên trang YouTube Viresa và truyền hình FPT Play, cũng như các trang fanpage Việt Nam Gamers, Mobile Legends BanggMobile và MLBB Esports Việt Nam.
Once again, a warm welcome to all of you joining us with the Mekong Regional Grand Finale of the M Challenge Cup Mekong MCCM. Our competition live stream on the official landing page at vnexpress.net/esport/VMC, FPT Play, YouTube Viresa, and the following fan page: Vietnam Gamers, Mobile Legends BanggMobile, and MLBB Esports Vietnam.
Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, trải qua những vòng đấu đầy căng thẳng vào ngày hôm qua, chúng tôi đã tìm ra được hai đội tuyển xuất sắc nhất đến từ Việt Nam và Lào để cùng tranh chức vô địch cho giải MCCM lần này. Và ngay bây giờ xin được chào mừng lên sân khấu.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for two teams today. Nightmare Esports from Laos
and Legion Esports from Vietnam.
Please come closer, our team. Yeah.
Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, hiện tại bên cạnh Tâm Vi và Kim Đô chính là hai đội tuyển xuất sắc nhất đã vượt qua rất nhiều đội tuyển khác vào ngày hôm qua để ghi tên mình vào trận vòng chung kết trong ngày hôm nay. Thì bây giờ chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau giao lưu với hai vị đội trưởng đến từ hai đội. Và hiện tại thì Vi thấy là Legion Esports là các bạn có vẻ như là tinh thần các bạn rất là sẵn sàng đúng không ạ? Bởi vì Vi biết rằng là Legion Esports chỉ mới 2 ngày trước thôi, các bạn ấy đã vô địch giải VMC. Và bây giờ các bạn nghĩ rằng các bạn có đủ tự tin để chinh phục thêm một giải vô địch nữa không ạ?
Tất nhiên là mình đầy đủ tự tin để vô địch giải đấu này tiếp.
Và bạn có điều gì chia sẻ mà muốn chia sẻ trước khi trận đấu ngày hôm nay sẽ bắt đầu hay không?
Chắc là cảm ơn mọi người đã theo dõi và cảm ơn và đã ủng hộ Legion Esports suốt 3 ngày vừa qua.
Và Legion Esports là một đội tuyển rất được yêu thương cũng như là nhận được sự kỳ vọng rất lớn của cộng đồng MLBB. Sẽ chúc cho tất cả các bạn ngày hôm nay sẽ thật tỏa sáng và thăng hoa nhé.
Team leader of Legion Esports say that thank you everyone supporting for Legion Esports. Once again, thank you everyone. And now, congratulations, Nightmare Esports. Congratulations, because your team make it in the grand finale. So, what would you rate your team 1 through 10?
100.
Oh. And why?
Because I'm confident that we will be the champion.
Yeah, looks so good because you look so confident, and I wish you the best with the thrilling match. Okay, and now all of you can come back, play in position, and have raised match. Thank you very much. Yes, come back, your playing position.
Và vừa rồi chúng ta đã cùng nhau trải qua một trận phỏng vấn nho nhỏ trước khi bắt đầu vòng chung kết ngày hôm nay. Và thưa quý vị, trận chung kết sẽ được diễn ra theo thể thức Best of 7, đồng nghĩa với việc đội nào chiến thắng 4 trận trước trong tổng số 7 trận sẽ là đội chiến thắng chung cuộc.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to witness a thrilling and intense final match to determine the winner of the M Challenge Cup MCM Legends Bang. The match will follow the best of 7 format, meaning the first team to win 4 matches will claim the championship. The first match tests not only skill but also strategies.
Và quý vị thân mến, đối với thể thức Best of 7, đây là một thể thức không chỉ đòi hỏi những kỹ năng đến từ các đội tuyển mà còn thử thách về tinh thần cũng như tính bền bỉ và tính thích ứng chiến thuật rất cao. Và để bắt đầu trận chung kết thì bây giờ xin mời đường truyền tín hiệu sẽ truyền đến với bạn caster.
And now our caster will be bringing you the inside scoop of this thrilling match.
Thank you very much to our lovely host. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Terminus for MCCM or the M Challenge Cup Mekong Season 4. We've already got our 2 teams that will be going to Malaysia or coming to Malaysia for the M6 wildcards, but we still got to figure out who is the better out of them 2. You got me, Husky, alongside Renma to kick off the grand finals for the day.
You know, our 2 hosts look very lovely today, and we just know it's going to be a grand match between these 2, even though it's a little bit of an underdog story for Nightmare, as their track record against the roster that makes up the Legion Esports squad isn't that stellar. They look different this time around, and hey, they said it themselves. They're going to be the champions, so they're confident.
Yeah, the host asked them from how would they rate themselves 1 to 10, and they went over and beyond. So hopefully that confidence is going to bring them all the way until that trophy, because you look at the track record even from yesterday, right? Nightmare Esports actually dropped 1 game against Vampire, whereas Legion Esports got a 4-0 clean record. So that is going to be very important coming into this, looking at all the histories between these 2.
Yeah, you go back into honestly what went on in the last M Challenge Cup for Mekong, and it was a sweep, if I'm not mistaken, for the then Xeno Zenith going up against Nightmare. So clearly Nightmare are going to go into this with a desire to not get swept again, maybe get their revenge.
Absolutely. We got to first of all thank our sponsors and partners. We got FPT Telecom, VN Travel, Brands, and also Realme for giving our competitors the best travel experience to the venue, the best connection, the best kind of health supplement. I used to drink Brands as a kid, and I can tell you it works wonders. Same as the phone, Realme 13 Plus, powered by 5G and AI technology with just all the most advanced chipset you have.
Yeah. Although we got to see that, I believe it was you and LaFell who got to witness one of the players almost drop one of these devices. Thankfully, they did not.
Yeah, thankfully, he held it together, right? The device stayed strong. They finished the series. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see him today. They will have been eliminated. But what we will see is essentially the 2 mainstay names that have been there for the M5 wildcards, and they're gonna make a run it back, right? And the only difference that we're gonna be looking for is if Nightmare Esports can conquer their adversaries, or will the then Xeno Zenith, now Legion Esports, still maintain that dominance and kind of fly that Vietnam flag as the champions of the MCCM.
Yeah, we gotta go back to what you mentioned, though, that when it comes to what they've had heading into today, Nightmare almost didn't make it. They were almost taken down by Vampire, while Legion just looked like they completely flew through Group B.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I think even for Nightmare, we look back at their first series against Vampire Esports, it did look slightly shaky, right? They had a breeze through game 1, completely dumpstered Vampire in under 11 minutes. But game 2, game 3 felt a bit closer than it should have been. Whereas for LG, it definitely felt like they were just going through a walk in the park. They took down 3V, then they took down T Final without really breaking much of a sweat. So I think the contrast between the journey of these two teams getting into the grand finals definitely felt like Legion Gaming had it slightly easier.
Yeah. So now, if you're Nightmare, you're gonna be looking at Legion as it has to be a big reset. I know they're confident, and maybe who knows? Maybe that confidence and the belief in your own team might actually be more than just enough to finally slay the demon in Legion Esports, team that swept you in the last grand finals, who's been completely steamrolling through everyone in their group. I am really hoping for a very close and competitive series between these two, because I learned something from one of the coaching staff members of Nightmare Esports. They didn't expect to defeat Leon. So apparently, Nightmare actually had a difficult time in previous tournaments against Leon. They haven't won against them. This is their first win against Leon in recent memory in a tournament. So they themselves were surprised that they made it this far. So maybe this is a completely different Nightmare Esports that we're going to be getting for the season.
Yeah, and I think it's also pretty poetic when they took down Legion Esports, because not only is this team from the same region and it has been giving them a hard time, but also you have ex-members of Nightmare Esports, right? Again, unfortunately, you can't have that full reunion at M6. Some of them had to go. So in this case, I think Nightmare Esports definitely proved themselves that they are better than they were. But whether they are at their peak, I think this is kind of the true test, right? They got 7 games potentially to prove that.
Yeah, and they gotta prove it up against Legion Esports. As for the lineups, of course, as Nightmare, it's Opper, Ninja, Soso, Kami, and Jasmine. And you know who I'm looking out for here? It has to be Jasmine. I loved his performance yesterday as a Cho, as a Matilda. He really knows how to read the map and when to invade at the right times. It's like acupuncture for this guy, man. He just hits the right nerve.
Yeah, just very accurate, surgical precision. But it's also interesting that they are fielding, they're not fielding too easy for Lexi. Instead, they're fielding their substitute, which is Ninja, which is something I didn't really expect for it to come true in game 1. But perhaps this is quote unquote their version of a litmus test. Let's see how the jungle matchup is going to be and whether we need to field too easy for Lexi down the road.
Yeah, but this time now for Legion Esports, Ninja has to go up against Joe, and he was the standout performer for Legion Esports yesterday as the Fanny, as the Hayabusa. There's a reason why we call him Joe God. He was playing like a god of assassins, and now look, it's him again. It's I think that's Sunshine with his bold prediction now going for 4-0.
Oh boy, I mean, if Nightmare Esports have shown confidence, I mean, Legion definitely clapped back with their own. Interestingly enough, we actually didn't see too much of Hayabusa or Fanny play. I think, or at least for the first 3 series I did with Lafel, we only saw 1 Hayabusa and 1 Fanny, and it was a bit interesting, right? Seeing how the team, their understanding of the heroes and how they play around it. But that's one of the warm-ups. You know, if there's anything I learned in the past week, is that warm-ups are incredibly important, especially for your wrist, whether you're doing sports, whether you're playing video games, because I'm now going through wrist injury and I hate every single moment of it.
Yeah, so your wrist has got to be loose. I think that's something you got to learn from Daylight Husky. It's like that movement.
Yeah,
I've seen that in a few K-pop videos. I don't know how to do that.
I'm not as avid as a K-pop fan as a lot of people around me, but that move, that's something I got to pick up. But we're gonna head into the drafting phase first. Instant respect ban, Fanny taken out, and Chip as well by LG. That one's not really a surprise.
Yeah. We got to see Chip yesterday. He played 2 games, and I agree with Leo yesterday. I hope we don't see Chip anymore, because we just were reminded how chaotic things can get. It's like, it's the anti-MLBB hero Chip, because like you expect team fights to go a certain way. Suddenly, an ultimate completely changes the picture of that. You know, I'm actually quite surprised that Nightmare would respect ban the Fanny of Joe, because they can play the Matilda and the Joe. They can use those heroes to give Fanny a little bit of a harder time. But I feel like they saw Joe's performance yesterday and said, nah, I think we'll pass.
Yeah, we pass. We don't need to take that risk. At least not.
Yeah.
It's not a game one, right? Perhaps maybe when they get a victory or two, then they will let loose a little bit. It also comes down to the fact that they're fielding Ninja for game one, right? So you want to give him I suppose, an easier matchup, a more relaxing, more comfortable matchup to work with. Phovis, Suyo, also the common bands right now. I definitely a lot more standard compared to a lot of the drafts we saw yesterday. I think these two teams, of course, bringing in kind of the top standards for MCCM.
Yep. Angela gets taken out by Nightmare, one of the best heroes that you can pair with a great jungler to be aggressive. But then, of course, that turns off any possibilities of Alice's or a very empowered alpha jungle. So the Phoveus ban is usually a signal that the team is looking into picking up a hero such as the Cho, the Arlot, maybe even the Ruby. But for the first pick for Nightmare, if it's not going to be an assassin they're chasing like the Ling or the Haya, there's still a possibility that they could swerve and surprise with a high loss, even though that has dipped out, or a Khalid first pick.
Oh yeah, the Khalid actually was fully banned out by Nightmare when they went up against Vampire. Banned by Nightmare twice. I think Vampire banned it once. And the Matilda, like you mentioned, is going to be that first choice, so we get to see Jasmine on it again.
Legion, I wonder if they have a Cho for Nart available, but there's the Khalid. Nightmare doesn't pick it up, so Legion will pick it up, and they 2 power picks right away. So their pressure of the map comes from the EXP lane, and now comes from the Alpha in the jungle.
So earlier you did say that the timing that Jasmine finds with heroes like Cho and Matilda to go for these early invades to apply pressure on these pressure points on the map.
Yeah.
Up against this Khalid and Alpha, does that dynamic change a little bit?
Well, one thing that they can do is pick up a Valentina if ever they want to turn off the idea of a Khalid roam, because the Valentina and Matilda together actually mess up the Khalid after level 4. So then that puts it in the EXP lane. And even when you want to rotate as a Khalid, you just need to now pair it up with a roamer that can be aggressive, such as the Cho, such as the Grok, so that you're a little bit more follow-up. But Nightmare go for a little bit of a swerve in their drafting. This Benedetta could go into the jungle or the EXP lane, although high chance it goes and falls into the hands of the of Opper in the EXP, while the Eve turns off the possibility or will make a Harith Gold struggle if ever Legion decides to pick it up in this slot.
I remember seeing that Benedetta jungle yesterday. It was once in the jungle and once in the, and I think once in the jungle and the rest in the XP. 4 games in the XP. So the Claude would be the option, a lot more manageable. Got that mobility, the BMI to work around this kill box that Nightmare has set up, and then they go ahead and ban out the Natan.
Not gonna lie, I'm already scared for this Eve. It came out a little bit way earlier than I expected. I really thought that would be a Valentina pickup, and those 3 picks already for Legion. Looking at it, I'm so sold, and I'm just looking at those 3 going, Coach, really? This is not gonna be the easiest game for me. You're gonna have to give me Peel. The EXP laner for Nightmare needs to be stronger. I think they have to suck it up, put this Benedetta in the jungle. They need a much stronger EXP laner.
So even the tank Benedetta is not going to work as well, right, in this situation.
Yeah, you need something with a little bit more peel. Tank Benedetta is a little bit too greedy. The only unless Opper has a god game where the Electo final blows are being used to actually protect the Eve when she's getting dived upon, but that's too high concept, a little bit too difficult. The lineup of Legion looks easy right now, even though they have the Valentine and the Faramis taken away from them, which is surprising because usually you pick the Eve because you know you can counter the Faramis with it.
I think this is kind of Nightmare's way to remedy the draft that they are seeing right now, right? We drop a Vexana as the 4th pick for Legion Gaming, and now it feels very all-rounded. You have ways to make the life of Eve hard, great dives, mobility, tons of pressure, and now you sort of have your own anti-dive hero.
Yeah. Strong scaling for Legion, considering that they picked a weak side gold lane, although the Claude's farm is a little bit, it's so much faster now, especially after with the adjustments of taking away his mana, and he can pick up the marksman emblem for him. For Nightmare, put the jungle Benne and then pick up a Terizla or something. You need a solid presence, but no, they go
Wow.
for full damage. This is such a glass cannon.
Yeah, full damage, and I think this kind of puts the burden back on not just Oppa on this Benedetta, but also on Jaspin, right? Like, can you outmaneuver Legion Gaming with all these mobilities that you have? You know, the shadows, the Benedetta passive, and of course 1-1 hopping around. Legion responds with the Jawhead.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt for Nightmare. I don't know, Utski, if I'm too crazy to think that, but I'm looking at the Legion lineup. That's a lineup to end the game before 11 minutes.
I think the same as well, especially when it feels like Legion Gaming have all the answers to every possible permutation that Nightmare Esports brings to the table. It gives me the feeling that Nightmare, they're sticking with what they're comfortable with for sure, but it's also kind of the mechanics check, right? We might not have the best draft against you, but we're just going to try and outplay you at every single corner.
Yeah, something about the Nightmare draft compared to, of course, the Khalid and the Alpha. I gotta say, their lineup can punish relatively well if you miss the Spear of Alpha, if you miss the Raging Sandstorm. They have the capability to actually shock and awe Legion, where if they don't get their initiation that they want, it's not gonna go well. But then they picked up a Jawhead who is quite literally an unstoppable force.
Yeah, he's like, if you want someone to set up, I'm gonna do the job, right? If you want me to catch the 1-1, the Hayabusa, not a problem. So one way to find out is game 1. We got, again, Nightmare Esports on the blue side with the Legion Esports on the red. Both junglers starting on the orange cloud.
Gonna see if in the level 4 rotation we're gonna get a gank in any of the lanes, or if they're gonna go for the route of, you know what, we'll see each other in the river, where a lot of the aggression is gonna be there.
It also comes down to where this Jawhead wants to go. In fact, I'm seeing the Vex. Actually, it is a bit of a lane swap, right? They put the Vexana up top, so you have Oppa having to deal with this Vex, who is just straight up demolishing the wave, and then you have Khalid sandbagging So in the mid lane.
Yeah, it seems like this is something I've seen a lot from the Mekong teams, where they get that lane swap so that the Vexana, the mid will get level 4s early. By the time the fight starts, you'll get the Khalid or the fighter in the mid lane with level 4 as well, so that they can maximize their ultimates come the first turtle fight, and then we see them steamroll from there.
I suppose also gives Legion Gaming a good tool to contest the XP crab that we just saw. Just so much burst, and Oppa can't really walk up to contest this. So, I mean, in essence, I think LG has already gotten a bit of that control. They have to give away the Little Wanderer, but Nightmare Esports can't really get much done on both the side lanes.
Yeah, I feel like there's a good sense of familiarity between these two teams with how they're positioning on the map right now. And again, we're going to be seeing another roamer pack encourage. Oh, Meow.
They're going to try, just have the quick send guard, so Ninja will commit the shadow kill, just gets eaten up. Not really too big of a problem. Now without the Hayabusa, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for Nightmare to contest the turtle, though. Oppa commits the electro final blow, forces out the flicker from Hey. Going to be a Raging Sandstorm into an RWM as a response from Nightmare. Somehow they get the turtle, but they end up losing 2 of their members. Jasmine with a circling ego secures an even trade for Nightmare, so it's a 2-for-2, but turtle for Nightmare Esports.
Exactly what we were talking about earlier. If LG don't get that initiation that looks good for them, they get punished. That was a perfect real-world manipulation by So. Even though Hey almost took down Opera single-handedly, Opera got to recover, placed down a great Electro final blow to push the Vexana out of position. It forced reactions out of Meow, Joe, and Nart, which led to Ninja living up to his name with a hero. I think it's more than just a comfort. I think he was born to play the Hayabusa.
And his name says it all. Without the ultimate, not a problem. So it's not, there's no goal lead at this point yet, but the fact that Nightmare was able to get away with an even trade against LG, who kind of set up that ultimate resource advantage, that's already a good sign. Perhaps they can try to go into So. Mel jumps onto him, and the Spear of Alpha, So with the flicker, turns around with the RWM. Unstoppable Force commitment, they really want him dead, and they will get it. With the Jawhead, Nar will commit himself, but we sacrifice over to Ninja.
Roam for mid trade. balances out the results of the first fight. So no clear winner there. As we look at the items right now, on the way to, I believe what that would be a Genius Wand that Soso will be rushing unless he's gonna swerve it. While for the two junglers, still relatively close in the gold. No clear advantage between the two gold laners, although of course the one already has corrosion. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Second death for the Ninja.
That was too good a read coming in from Legion, and not the start you'd want as the Hayabusa. This could make the second turtle a little bit tougher later on.
Kind of caught trying to steal a camp without much info to work with. They do see the Jawhead bottom side, but the turtle is top, so completely opposite part of the map. We even have Meow just sitting in that bush at the purple, but making sure Ninja doesn't even have a chance to steal the objective this time. So securing Legion Esports hit their first turtle of the game.
Yeah, and that was a good read by Legion. And Ninja, if he wants to be aggressive with where he's going to be going in terms of stealing the camps, I think he needs to coordinate that a little bit better with Nightmare, so that he needs to have someone to cover him. I know the Hayabusa has that great mobility to get away, but things like that led to a big loss. You lose a turtle, you lose your side of the jungle. It's now slight recovery mode for Nightmare. This next sequence cannot go badly for them, but Soul gets caught. Oh no.
That's kind of the... In this situation, is the Flicker more valuable or the Purify? We're going to come back to that in a bit, because they do find a 1-1, even with the built-in Purify. It's not really enough. The BMI actually gets daylight out, but he has the OG Shadow Q stick onto him. So it will be an even trade. Bot side, both gold laners do go down. Legion Esports can't get more than that, but they sure as heck should be able to do some damage to that bot tier 1.
Nightmare. I wish they had... looking at who they have here, I get why they'd want to pack Flicker onto the Eve. There's a lot of repositioning that you can do with the Flicker, and it means that you can maximize a really well-placed real-world manipulation. But with so much crowd control for the bruisers of LG, a Purify in this scenario might actually would have fared better, but this is the situation we are in right now. LG just starting to throw bodies, and they can do so at this rate.
They're really trying to catch Ninja, even with the Raging Sandstorm and the BMI. Even the placing duet, the commitment, just to make sure Ninja doesn't get out of that. Might get more than just Ninja though. Oppa now in danger, pulled away by the guiding wind. But like you said, Rema, LG, they are starting to just use their bodies as a means of offense.
And one thing that I like that they're doing is that they have a clear positional assignment. We're gonna go here, you're gonna go there. It's not all funneled into one area. That Nightmare now has to try and tackle all of these bruisers from multiple directions.
With Mel around, even with Thunderbelt this early on, there is just really nothing that Nightmare can do. The fact that Ninja has gone down the third time, 1,000 net worth behind Joe on this alpha, recovery mode is going to take a lot longer, right? He just got the Hunter Strike into that Legion Sword. So, a Nightmare, they somehow got to slow this down.
Yeah, this is the scenario now where you shift your attention. Ninja won't be able to carry. You can help him get his farm, but your attention needs to go into your 1-1 and even making sure that the Eve is in a comfortable place to put down a good real-world manipulation, which then turns into Opper just making sure he gets to maximize an Electro Final Blow to deal what damage he can. This Hayabusa now will turn into a 4-1 split. He'll have to clear out minion waves from the side lanes, push out there, which is exactly what they're doing. So you see the adjustment on the fly coming in from Nightmare.
And they do have good heroes to do it, not just Hayabusa, but Oppa also can get it done. I suppose at the same time, the change of playstyle for Benedetta in this current meta, where you don't go for the Petrify, you do, kind of give out a bit of that instant crowd control or setup, but you get the durability to continuously just disrupt the backside. The Thunderbelt, like Oppa is trying to stack it up, but it's so hard to move into LG. Without the eye for an eye, well, actually gets it back in time. Wow, very well timed, honestly, by Oppa.
Yeah, good thing he was able to get away from that, and he was, you could tell Nart and the rest of LG were just thinking about, do we full commit? Are we really gonna go for him? But the moment they saw that Benedetta use that eye for an eye, they were like, alright, now it's not worth it to chase him. Now, update on the two gold winners of the Golden Staff already for a Claude, and compared to before, this is his power spike already. You don't need to wait for the corrosion 2 core items, one of them being a golden staff. They're already locked in. The 1-1 though, I hope that if it's not going to be a sea halberd, I hope it rushes the Malefic Roar at this point, honestly. If you want a little bit of a quicker power spike, high damage needs to be chased already.
The high damage, Joe is taking a ton of it, really heating up. Even with the War Axe, not enough this time. 3 members of NM on top of him, and that is the pickoff you want for Nightmare. And a good disengage right as the Lord spawns.
You get acupuncture from Jasmine, precision by Nightmare, finding the right target, and yeah, you see the adjustment wherein they rotated together, not with the Eve, but actually with the 1-1 to make sure that Cammy would get a kill so that they have this enough damage to dish out if ever they get a pick off, and they got it. But right now the positioning of LG around the store is a little bit too good.
Even without the Alpha, the rest of the LG lineup just too menacing. You got the Khalid, you got the jaw hit. It feels like they could take you on 4v5 if they want to. So no Lord take for NM. And LG, they are just going to play around this area.
Yeah, that's the problem for Nightmare, right? Like the 4-man team fight of LG without the Alpha is great. Subtract 1 member there, it's still a force to be reckoned with. And the fact that they cannot catch Hehehe on this Vexana 4-0 shows just how much space is being provided by the frontliners. Already up to a Blood Wings going into the 3rd item. I think could be building the book after already having the genius wand, the glowing wand rather, as well. Sea Halberd is the build up for the 1-1, and I think he's gonna be chasing the Wind of Nature afterwards. He just needs a little bit of a physical. Oh,
that's a toss back. Jasmine, he's gone. They get the RWM catch, but a response to the Eternal Guard stops any backline dive. So NM cannot follow up with that. Legion went from Daylight to the backline, forcing out the flicker into Spear of Alpha. They funnel him into the hands of Joe, and just like that, it's a 4-man wipeout for the side of LG. Only Oppa left to tell the tale.
In the blink of an eye. And you called it, Husky, the block by the Eternal Guard, perfectly placed by Hehehe. You thought that Cammy and Opper would get the optimal angle to punish LG's dive, LG's pickoff onto, initial pickoff onto Jasmine, but no, it was just blocked by Hehe.
The assignment of LG in that team fight was also very well thought out, right? Like you had a Joe Alpha somehow of all places in the bush to intercept and cut off escape routes. Something that I think and definitely didn't expect. Alpha also has to back off with this Lord coming in on the bottom side. LG is looking to really do some serious damage.
The good thing about Nightmare is that they are packing a lineup with an Eve. Even though the 1-1 is their gold laner, LG banned out the Nathan earlier, which was a great move. Because they knew they were playing for the early game. If it was a Nathan and an Eve, it would be really tough for them to end this game. But considering that it's a 1-1, it's a little bit more accessible, I guess. If they want to go for that siege, they still have to respect the real world manipulation at the end of the day. With a nature built up by the 1-1, that has to be a Malefic Roar later on to really dish out the damage and counter punish potentially LG's dives.
We even see the 3rd Winter Crown now for LG. First 2 were on Joe and Nart, and now Meow also joins in the fun. Now talk about it being hard enough to get to LG's backline. Now they have invulnerability.
Yeah, again, it's even LG acknowledges that with an Eve around, it might be tough for us to get the picture perfect entry and initiation that we want. That we want to survive. If it means packing Winter Crowns across the board so that we can wait out the real world manipulation just a little bit longer so then we can continue fighting, then why the heck not? Great itemization by LG.
Even the lane management, right, for LG, I thought that they would freeze the wave just slightly longer to make Nightmare kind of walk out and explore the map. So they do have control, but now it's a 2-3 split. You got the Alpha and Khalid on the top side. Plot is just farming whatever he wants, and the orange buff completely cut off from NM.
And they're just getting resources across the map right now while still defending their sides of the jungle and the opposite lane. Great man assignment up top with Meow and Joe together. potentially stopping any split pushes, any attempts in getting that tower. They're not overly aggressive and hunting as one, hunting as five. They're still taking care of the map. So you see the respect coming out from LG.
Yeah, a lot of respect, in fact. And the fact that they got such a read as well, right? You see these, that's just now the duos basically breeding right beside each other. But I think LG are gonna continue manning that vicinity. And then they did clear out the wave, but with Lord spawning on the bottom side, of course Nightmare will be the first one to move towards that area.
Then tell for this Hayabusa, already level 15, yes, but not even with the Endless Battle just yet. Well, the Alpha's a little bit more free farm, zoning out by Opera.
Oppa is really trying to get some space, but they're just going to be patient with their ability. So Oppa down, less than half health. Joe comes in with the Spear of Alpha, Winter Crown, just to buy a bit of time. That's the RWM. They create the box, but you got a Claw jumping on top of Soso, pulled away by Jasmine. Daylight follows up with the Flicker, couldn't get the kill. BMI to safety, no one goes down. Hey. With the Wishing Lantern glowing one, doesn't get the kill onto Cammy, who doesn't burn down. They get rid of Ninja, though. Electro Final Blow gets used. Lord finds a knockout on Daylight, but it will be secured nonetheless by Joe, and LG at the end of that finds the Lord and 2 kills.
Perfect entry by Joe, even better entry by Daylight. The moment that box was put down, he had to let it go away. He dished out what damage he could, but that Blazing Duet was perfect by Daylight.
Another Circling Eagle, that's the 3-man knockup. Another Winter Crown, this one, courtesy of Mel. Immortality actually expended by Joe. I want to try and get this inhibitor at least with the cannon and the Eternal Guard. One last shot and a new fresh batch of minion wave. Mid inhibitor finally falls, but Nightmare Esports, at least they hold on to the game.
They do have that high ground, but it's at this point where this lead, with LG going to the 50s realm, Nightmare still at around the 40. They can afford one play of them just throwing bodies to try and end the game, whether or not it's with the Lord. If they don't get that, then they have to ease up. But oh wow, Nightmare being aggressive!
Again, RWM, they really want to get Soso, but Daylight, he's uncontested. He's just kind of dishing out damage out to the backline. BMI Blazing Duet, this should be the end game. He finally goes down, but with the crossbow tank, maybe there's a chance for a turnaround. Cammy and Ninja trying to do their absolute best, but Mel comes in and turns it all around. And as best effort has not found any success, LG will be able to take game 1 for sure.
A great attempt by Nightmare. Risky as it was, they just couldn't get the last man. They couldn't get Meow.
Could not get him. Of course, Daylight with that superb plot performance. It's being an absolute menace. You pointed it out, Renma, at the start of the drafting phase when we saw the first 3 picks, that this plot is going to be an absolute nightmare for Nightmare Esports to deal with, and they just could not find a solution to deal with him.
Yeah, first, I questioned that attempt by Nightmare to pull the trigger, but they knew that if they just turtled and tried to play from a defensive position, that there was that risk that Legion's just gonna throw bodies and win it. So they decided, you know what, let's go ahead, pull the trigger on this one. We see some key figures. It's just unfortunate that even though they got that crossbow of Tang off, the lead was just too much for Nightmare to handle. That even though they blew everything, they didn't have enough for that last man. They didn't have enough for the Khalid.
Yeah, big part of that really comes down to not just the lead that Legion had, but again also Daylight's contribution in the team fight, right? Every time he sees the box, he's just blazing towards the back line, and most of the fight, Nightmare was just fighting with a man disadvantage. It really falls onto the shoulder of Cammy, who just could not do enough. But I suppose this one, it's still not the worst, since Nightmare has essentially 3 more games to go. You know, it's minimum 3 more games to go. So plenty of chances to make the adjustment.
Yeah, they have a lot more things that they can do. And this is one of the reasons why we don't see Eve getting picked super early into the blue side. You still want to change the Valentinas, the Vixanas, the Auroras in case. However, I think Nightmare, their mindset into this, it's like we'll play with discipline, maybe a little bit more counter punchy, but then you see them still making the right decision where if they find someone that they can pick off, that they'll go for it. But up against a lineup that's built to destroy an Eve composition, I feel like there were some fights that they took that could have been more of like, you know what? maybe we'll just wait until we see the alpha. Maybe we'll just wait until we see the Claude.
Yeah. I think it's also there's a lot more things to consider if you are a Nightmare, right? In comparison to what Legion has on their side, the bar of execution, it feels simpler. It feels like if I see Nightmare Esports, what I gotta do, daylight, you look for the Eve. For the rest of the team, we just catch whoever tries to go and dive first. A lot of examples of that showed up, especially after that first Lord fight, where Daylight is just finding the best possible position for big ticket ultimates like this.
Yeah, and this is LG. Even though they started it, they changed their approach and went for a counter punch. And this is the end of the game where we see the Khalid was in the thick of things, but again, you just had to commit so much. The Hayabusa was able to get a good pick off into the back. Hehe was down, but Meow just sustaining and healing through it. Joe wasn't there. Joe was alone, but he was still able to survive long enough and Meow to end it.
So Legion so far still undefeated in this entire tournament. Well, this qualifies at this point, right? This is their 5th consecutive win if we just count from yesterday. But does this kind of fall into like the expectations of, okay, Legion is going to win in a dominating fashion? Does this kind of fit the bill?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does. However, I think it looks like that way because you said the key thing. Their lineup was simpler to pull off in this game number 1. While in game 1, because it looks so much easier to pull out the draft that you want to do, of course it's going to look a little bit more dominating. Although stats wise, yeah, it does lean into them. While all I can say is for the next ones, Nightmare, I think they have to go back to the basics. High concept is their draft, but up against the Spear of Alpha, Joe continuing his streaks of MVP performances.
Very hard to get through him. We saw the amount of damage that he deals, but aside from that is also the setup that the Alpha sort of brings with the ultimate, right? Something that I think some of us every now and then we overlook, that an Alpha can also set things up. And even at the end where he was left alone, he was essentially just 1v2ing the members of NM. So the 4-0 prediction, of course, still remains active for Legion Esports. They have a good chance to make it happen. Nightmare on the back foot. Even the post-game, I mean, this tells a very compelling story about that game 1.
Yeah, if you look at the gold, the objectives, yes, the towers, the lords, Nightmare was able to get that 1 turtle, but the gold was very close, and it all came from the fact that Nightmare did pull that trigger into the last fight. They were going into that with a 10k deficit, but one of the problems was, again, we go back to the Vexana. I liked how they handled that one team fight was showed, I believe that was for the First Lord, wherein they initiated. But then when they saw that they had the Benedetta, the 1-1 getting close, they went back, then spread out. And that's how Hehe was able to get that clutch Eternal Guard and Daylight to eventually come in with that big ticket Blazing Duet. So despite them playing a lineup that is literally bang your head against the wall and the wall will still break, they stopped banging their heads against the wall at the right time and then continue to bang their heads against the wall. It's just good respect by LG.
Yeah, we did see kind of the change in approach, right? Like throughout the game. At one point they decided, okay, we gotta start playing the map. Let's play the split, right? Let's send Jasmine and Cammy together. If we can get the pickup, that's great. Cammy has more than enough damage. Let's send Ninja to the other side of the map. But it's the Lord fight that I think that changes the landscape of how they approach that game. We gotta fight for the Lord, and if we lose the Lord, now we have to go on defense. It gets a bit more desperate.
Yeah, and you can see that they were really holding on to their ultimates like at the right time. Again, even though this lineup will just toss it all, it would potentially work, especially since they already have the Winter Crowns on their key initiators. But at the end of the day, he still respected the Eve. That every time we go back to it, the Eve put up that Starfield, there's the Claude. If it's not the Claude, if it wasn't used to initiate, there's the Alpha, or there's a Raging Sandstorm. That you could really see the patience that they were playing with up against Nightmare.
Yeah, even kind of a special shout out to Nord on the Jawhead, right? Like his life mission the entire game was just, I see the Eve, I'm just gonna toss her up. Might not cancel her ult, but she can't play checkers and chess while she's a crowd control. So I think again, very straightforward approach. So for Nightmare in this game too, is it more towards like changing up the sequence of how they draft? I would assume they go on red side for game 2.
Yeah, definitely change up the sequence. I'm still okay if they decide to go for a Matilda priority. As much as I'm not the biggest fan of picking a Benedetta EXP lane early, that's more of like a late into the draft reveal. I also still appreciate how it was played by Opper. I am now reminded just how crazy a Benedetta can heal with the Oracle already on her, the Revitalize. So I guess a lesson learned for me as well, that it's deceptively tanky and does have enough damage and crowd control to be a nuisance. I think they have to change up their priorities in the mid lane, especially. I like the Eve, but it was too high concept. If you're going to pick up the Eve, do it for later in the draft. Weirdly enough, though, in this current metagame, if you're drafting red side, it's perfect to draft the Eve as the third pick if it looks good. But don't force it if it doesn't look perfect.
Yeah, it's one of the few remnants of what makes the red side good, right? Considering that you are giving up a lot as well in terms of like what you need to ban out. We'll see. I mean, draft for game 2 underway. Of course, Nightmare Esports will switch sides over to red. We got LG on the blue side. Safe to say that the Chip and Suyo most likely will be banned out. We get the Phobias banned out by Legion.
Yeah, and which makes it difficult for Nightmare now. That are you gonna go for Chip Suyo Fanny or okay, there's a Fanny. So that completely demolishes the question I had in mind. But are they gonna ban out another assassin? Chipsuyo Fanny looks good, but the problem is you're gonna end up giving the Jushin to Hehe, which he showed he plays that really well.
Yeah.
So now LG are taking away the single target lockdown heroes. That is what Matilda is now in the meta, especially if she gets a snowball early and she can start building damage items earlier on. I do really want to see Nightmare pick up the Cho early. If it's not going to be a Cho Khalid, maybe Cho Gatot. But oh no, it gets respect banned.
Wow. I mean, I love the approach from LG, right? Like you have that advantage on that blue side to in terms of drafting, and you just start hammering in onto Jasmine's hero pool. But I like the fact that you brought up it's either the Suyo or the Jushin. And in game 1, Jushin, I believe, was let through, but Legion didn't really consider it, right? Like they didn't feel the need to go for it. Now it's a win-win situation, right? Nightmare can only ban out one. LG will always get the other.
Yeah, I want to see Nightmare highly consider an Alpha Gatot as their first 2 picks, and then get their mid laner or a power gold for the 3rd pick later on. Because when you go Alpha Gatot, to be fair, Alpha will soft counter in terms of what the Tsuyo wants to be able to do them in the map, and then you have the Gata to go for the re-engage. If they don't want to go for the Gata Kacha here, it has to be. You know what? I'm gonna reel back. Please pick up the Gatot because at least you can show that it's a flex. It can either go XP, it can either go roam. It'll make LGO the thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I think yesterday LaFell also did point out in certain situations, more often than not, the Gatot roam actually gives you quite some priority, right? You could control the mid lane, but also with how durable the Gatot is, just having the freedom to move around the map gives you a lot more say in dictating kind of the state of the game. So the alpha does come out for the side of Nightmare. They pick the Khalid for themselves.
Yeah, I wanted to suggest the Khalid as an alternative, but there was just something about the kit of the Gatot that I appreciated a little bit more. But you know what? This is okay. I'm not going to knock this. It still falls under the idea that you're going into the second phase. You're not going to show the Roman EXP yet. That it's a flex. It'll make LG think. It'll make LG adjust. Here, though, Hehehe can pick up... Vex, Aurora, Valen, usually the picks that you want to go for if you're going up against heroes with a strong dive. So LG will take the Gatot away. And all those mages that I mentioned pair well with the Gatot, but no, that's confidence. Wow. Very confident.
So much confidence. Taking the 1-1 for themselves. And I mean, we saw kind of the 1-1 as an answer or as a solution from Nightmare into the Alpha Khalid in game 1. But in this case, it feels like there's just a bit more space for Daylight to kind of set up the crossbow tank and just using this Alpha and Khalid as that sponge to unlock the weakness points.
I think Nightmare will have to consider picking up a Nathan earlier on. I don't think they have a Beatrix in their belt. If they're thinking for the matchup alone, they might end up picking Bruno, but that's a little bit too focused on the matchup. So they say, you know what, we'll round it out. We'll pick up our mid laner, we'll get the Theramis. That means we'll have to commit a Valentina ban into the next phase. So a good start, a much better start here drafting wise for Nightmare. While LG, they just need to supplement this 1-1 really well, which means that Nightmare might actually consider an Angela Valentina ban, just take out the best things that you can pair up right now with LG.
So far, we are seeing kind of the idea, the concept of what Nightmare wants to play in terms of the team comp. This feels like they want to refine on what we saw in game 1, where we see LG, we kind of figure out, okay, there's an opportunity to fight, but now we have an insurance policy to bail us out if things go bad. The Valentina ban, that you pointed out, is banned. And of course, LG actually banning out the Bruno just so, Daylight gets a better matchup.
I feel like the Bruno ban's a little bit of an overthink in terms of the team fighting, because in the big picture right now, LG should be able to handle the Bruno. It's just that, yeah, the 1-1 might struggle in lane, but I think it's important for them that side lanes get a good experience, because that takes away the aggression that Legion wants to do in the center of the map if the side lanes need a lot of help. So, you know what? At the end of the day, I get it.
I mean, with how good of a game Daylight got, you better treat him well.
Yeah.
Harith banned out also. So, yeah, targeting that gold lane, we get the Vexana ban from NM. A bit of a kind of, you soften up the mid lane a little bit for So, but also, you kind of force Hey to go for something else.
Yeah, this either needs to be a Nathan or a carry if you want to pick your gold laner now. But I'd be okay with them already showing the Roman EXP trade-off. I'm trying to go through my head right now, but it's tough because you don't see enough pieces for LG to say that, oh, we pick a gold laner now, because we see that you still don't see enough. You pick the roamer now, you also still don't see enough. So are they going to go for a catch? They already have a strong front with the Alpha and Kali. They can go for a pick-off style roamer instead. But you know what? They say, we'll get the gold now. They pick up a Lunox, but this is all very close range. They need to really synchronize their entries.
Yeah, have to really be in your face and into something like a Gatot and Suyo. Again, you got to play around that box, right? Like game 1, it was Nightmare with the kill zone, but so far in game 2, the kill zone goes over the LG. And speaking of that, they are going to amplify it with the Eve and the Tigreal.
Oh, not gonna lie, it feels bad, man. you take the gambit and say, you know what, we can pick our gold laner now, but they end up looking at that. I'm scared for the Lunox at this point. Even the Tigreal were perfect.
Actually before the Lunox pick, I was in agreement with you. I was thinking maybe they could go for something like a setup of catch, right? Like Tigreal, I don't know, maybe Arlet. If they want to be a bit more adventurous, the Ruby Grok doesn't seem too bad. But now it does make lives different, right? They end up with the Hylos instead as the roam. But the question is, how do you deal with this no-go zone that LG is going to set up?
Yeah, I mean, the team fighting of Nightmare is very honest, that if you're the Tigreal, you're just happy. Is that right? Are they gonna XP lane this Tigreal?
No way, right?
No way. I've only heard about it leading up to MPL Philippines Season 14, leading up to MYC. You guys are in Season 14 also, right?
No, Season 14. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going crazy. I forgot about the whole MYSG count. That confused me for a moment. But yeah, wow. I actually get to see it for the first time. I've only seen it and heard about it in theory, rather, but never in action.
How is this supposed to work? Like I assume, just based off of what I could conceptualize, is essentially a sandbag. You get decent lane clear, you prevent any sort of pressure in that lane, and then you just wait level 4.
Yeah, it's the idea of the strong level 4 that if the Tigreal's not going to be single-handedly clearing out the EXP lane, he'll get a little bit of help and then make the Tigreal rotate with the rest of the team. That you have two big ticket setups. Usually, teams would just take the what we call the sane route and put the Gata Kacha in the EXP. But I like how Legion's got a little bit of loco on their side that they said, you know what, we can Tigreal EXP.
Yeah. We got time, we got games to kind of play with it, right? I mean, if it works out, then it would be. Is it really Tigreal XP? No. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're not as crazy as we think they are. Although I do hope that they are.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting to the point where I was hoping that I really hope it is EXP. But no, yeah, they go for the sane route, as we like to call it. And a lot of pokes against this Faramis. And yeah, in the mid lane, Faramis will need a lot of help to help manage the minion waves.
Plenty of pressure in that mid side, right? Tigreal Eve is just tough for Sosa to walk up. And now this entire wave is going to get control. Whoa, Cammy. Dangerous territory. Joe has already hit 4, and if Cammy stays any longer, this is gonna be a bit tough. So let's get the help from Jaspin, but that's Revitalize out.
Yep, big battle spell early on. It should be back. Oh no, it won't be back for the next turtle. That's gonna be a little bit of a problem. Nothing too big for Nightmare to handle. They can still contest and get this first turtle safely, considering that Legion will have their Tigreal coming in from the top, and Jasmine's already gonna spot him out when he comes in. So they have positional advantage, somewhat.
I mean, we even saw Opper get taunted up for now. Thankfully, has the passive to get out of that. Here comes the turtle take. Not really sure how NM wants to approach this. Good spin of Alpha to dodge it, but they lose the turtle, right? So much crowd control. RWM, implosion, everything from the kitchen sink. LG finds a double kill for Hey.
Oh, and the worst part about that is Lexi couldn't even click Retribution. I missed out that he was crowd controlled at that moment, or unfortunately it was just a miss, but the brilliance up, Daylight. Nah, not gonna be able to get close enough. Feels bad for Nightmare. Legion, they fought a really good team fight, considering that the real world manipulation was coming from the side of Nightmare. That's where he was positioned.
They do find Nart, but again, can't really do too much about him. They pull him back. He's just such a tanky boy. But so far, things going pretty well for LG. Blade Surge into a Soul Sever. That almost takes out Jaspin in the process.
Yeah. Oh, I think we failed to mention, it's too easy for Lexi in for Nightmare. Ninja getting playing experience in close at times, game number 1. But as we look at the items, Lunox is gonna take quite some time already. A slight lead for the 1-1. Corrosion. Jungler still close, so that's good news. 4 too easy for Lexi. EXP lane. Oh, the Gata Kacha is having a little bit better time compared to the Khalid, which means Opper's getting a bit more farm through the mid.
I'm just gonna hit that Thunderbelt first. Just kind of start off the stacking. I mean, Opper is definitely trying to move around the map a bit more, kind of utilizing the mobility of the Khalid to try and help the team. Unfortunately, no cigar in the first 4 minutes. And LG, they have 4 guys on top. They really want to shut down that top side.
Yeah, and they're doing so by managing the middle of the map really well. A lot of pressure. I think they can walk away with a kill.
We'll see top side, there it is. Nether Realm out, instantly popped. Daylight just basically sticking onto them like glue as Soso goes down. We even need the crossbow tank for this one. Turtle will be gone on 2EC for Lexi, finding an exchange. At least they get an objective.
And so the choice they made, they themselves could have picked up a Tigreal in the 4th pick. They went for the Lunox, so Tigreal was open, and then the Eve was. Oh my!
Oh! The Flicker rating stands down for Opper. Unfortunately, couldn't get a kill. But at least they defend the structure.
All of that to defend. Are they gonna try and chase? But no, Nightmare just was way too far to go for the punish right away.
They're gonna try and put more pressure on the top side. I'm not really sure how much they could get done. Laura's pathway gets used as well. Nart instantly just knock Jasmine back, but he's taking aggro from the turret. The Ring of Punishment actually ends up punishing him. Joe shows up, gonna run into too easy for Lexi, but with the Quill, Evil, NM has to back off.
Yeah. NM did all of that, sacrificing Jasmine for the turret, and you know what? I wouldn't knock it. They already knew that the 1-1 was able to build a substantial lead, especially after the sequence up top. But the problem is they couldn't take care of their mid right away. Usually when you pull sequences like that, you have to back off quickly, readjust, go back to the middle of the map, and that was just a failure to acknowledge that they needed to protect the mid from Nightmare. That this opens up the map even more for LG, the fact that they were able to break the mid turret.
Oh yeah, this basically forces NM to relinquish that map control. I mean, they did get the top tier 1. Cammy just continues to be under pressure, right? Like the fact that he can still stay within that under 1k deficit is pretty darn impressive. But I say that and he goes down, so well, now that deficit is going to extend for sure. And NM so far have not been able to find any kills, and with that top lane freed up, Daylight is going to be happy.
Legion had one assignment. Oh!
Wow, just again, press all the out buttons. This is Netherrealm, insurance policy, expended, big soul sever, Nar with the sacred hammer pull, too easy for Lexi now, too deep in, but NM have the power to brute force through a double kill, but too easy for Lexi before he goes down. Now tries to go for a taunt, doesn't get onto Jasmine, but with Daylight arriving, LG, unfortunately, won't be able to contest the objective.
Okay, Nightmare. Good decision to just throw bodies, fight under the real-world manipulation even. They were able to get some key kills, got a shutdown onto Jome. I believe it was also a shutdown on Nart. So that should help them chase up a little bit in the gold somewhat. And there is already a substantial lead for the Alpha compared to the Suyo. So that was a big move that I think Nightmare can capitalize on. They just need to recover, they just need to regroup and contest this turtle. If they can't contest it, be wily. If LG overcommit, oh, they force the flicker.
Wow, there's a second item, Winter Crown, too easy for Lexi. RWM again, crossbow attack, weakness points all unlocked. Too easy for Lexi in the thick of it. Needs help from So-So. Oppa is just trying to take down Hey all by himself, and he manages to do it. They were able to find the Nart. Winter Crown keeps Lexi alive, but he ends up going down. But boy, enough time for Oppa, who is just assassinating everyone. Cammy goes into brilliant form. Oppa slows down Jome, a flicker to avoid the arrow and bow. And Oppa, he is just doing mad work. Joe needs to get over the wall, finds shelter. But with Oppa and Cammy around, how is Joe gonna get out of this?
Yeah, there's no flicker. He does have the ultimate, but I think that's darkness. Or does he have brilliance? Joe trying, Oppa trying.
Here comes Soul Sever heal, Blazers escape, Oppa takes him out, and just like that, Oppa wins the fight for his team.
Nightmare showing some fight. I thought it was a little bit too premature to call that using the glorious pathway right away, but I think their condition was, hey, we see Joe up top, let's just go ahead and force this, and they made the most out of it.
The flicker implosion, So-So will use the purify, and Oppa again going up the Eve. He is a man on a mission, but now he has to try and abort. Unfortunately, the enemies have caught up. He just out the crossbow tank with the quick side gun, jumps it takes him down again. Oppa is a madman, but he gets the job done.
Oh, Oppa has done it. Made me shriek like I just saw something terrifying. But no, I saw something hella cool. Nightmare fighting, but they need to recover.
In the 3-man speed of Alpha with the Netherrealm to keep Lexi alive, and now Cammy joins the fight, and Nightmare has just turned the whole game around.
That was nuts. Nightmare, great understanding that they still had some utilities. I thought they were all out, but the moment that Netherrealm came out, that's why they kept the aggression, that's why they kept fighting, and that's how they got that Lord.
Insane stuff for the side of Nightmare. They've not only gotten the lore, but they've equalized the net worth. And Oppa, he is definitely a one-man battalion. We did see him get the Oracle at one point before the most recent fight. But I have a feeling he's probably gonna even consider the Winter Crown at this point.
Yeah.
These early defensive items are really paying off on Nightmare.
Great adjustments and great faith around the Netherrealm. Great cutout by Jasmine. Don't think they'll be able to get this turret. Still get to clear that last minion. But now the attention will get turned to top side. We have the roamers. Still the high loss. The high loss and Tigreal are very close in terms of the items. I think that Dominus Ice is actually coming in for the clutch for Nightmare in terms of the heals that LG has.
Yeah. The gate you kind of solve the problem of the Gatot. Deals with Joe also when he is in your face. See how much damage they can do. We get the Queen's Wings for too easy for Lexi.
Ah.
Wow, actually gonna go for more. Another RWM, then 1 mil. Flicker Implosion, only onto 1. Another round as the saving grace. Cammy jumps in with the Darkness, stunned up by the Blaze Surge, and unfortunately, Jasmine is just too far forward. Oppa was not dead.
Ooh, not the best approach there by Nightmare to heavily dive that. Now a concealed play. Nightmare could actually get more, or LG can get more.
Does Nightmare notice? I don't think they do. Now they finally spotted out the chase. Daylight's gonna be gone on Cammy, takes him out. At least the consolation prize, too easy for Lexi. Trying to survive. Joe finds the assassination onto Cammy. All while Oppa is just straight up split pushing the lane.
Managing the sides. Great call here by this Khalid, but again, even better call by LG to commit the conceal and commit the chase. They were eventually able to get Cammy. If Joe wasn't able to take down Cammy there, yeah, they got kills, but ultimately that wouldn't have been worth it because Daylight was already taken out. But since they were able to trade gold for gold and get a few more kills, ultimately that was a good play by LG. But now Nightmare with the continued aggression to pressure. I believe Joe was still able to get his purple buff though.
So thankfully, Nightmare did take out all the altitude turrets, right? Or even the tier 2s that went down, courtesy to Oppa, and set themselves up for the second lore of the game, which will be spawning on the bottom side, and that's where LG is. They want to get there first, make sure that they have the best position to launch that ambush. All they need is one good team fight with all the ultimates buttons pressed at the right time to basically take back the lead in this game.
So now it's all about macro, a little bit closer to home, and I think what we're used to seeing in terms of how teams manage the map, when to play, or call for the right aggressions. I like the discipline, and even the moments where they say, you know what, we have to let go of discipline for now and commit to play. Great decisions across the board, great trading for both of these two teams. And now Winter Crowns across the board for Nightmare. On the Khalid, on the high loss as well. It allowed them to buy time. Aggression.
Well, they're looking for Hey, but that's a big AOG. A knock up on the tree. They want Joe dead, but Cammy jumps straight onto Hey to take him out. And now Joe wants to find a counter kill, gets it on the Cammy. The nether round just a bit too late from Soso as Jasmine needs to run away, but without Cammy, here comes the crossbow tank. Leap into the air, takes out Jasmine. Soso also taken out by Joe. And it's just Oppa and Lexi left, but unfortunately they are not enough. Oppa forced to abandon the vessel. LG tried to chase him down. Daylight trying to catch up, but Oppa just a bit too fast.
Kali just a bit too fast compared to the 1-1. And that was a great stop by two members, by Meow and Nart especially, getting a big implosion at the back, catching 3 members of Nightmare that stopped the flow of their team fight. If it wasn't for Nart and even Meow to dish out a good taunt to pair up with the implosion crowd control, the Nightmare would have been able to fight well and found the flow of their fight. But LG got the block and LG got the Lord.
Again, the idea was we take out the Yi, make sure that there's no box to work with. But for the second fight in a row, Joe was able to get the kill on the Cammy. Really just illustrate how a paper this Unox can be, and without Cammy, it's a big source of damage, man. NM is just gone. Lawrence gonna charge into the mid inhibitor. Lawrence pathway laid down just to delay it. Fortunately, not gonna do too much. The structure still ends up falling.
Right. Good positioning by Opper. Once he showed up himself up, he was behind LG, and when that tower was broken, that means that Opper could have gone in and initiated, so they decided to turn their attention. They went up top instead. Now they've refocused and go into the bot. This is just good management of the minion wave pushes that they have.
And this field does so much damage. Another RWM, Jasmine jumped on, pops revitalized, but just gets blown through Opper. With their Winter Crown, NetherRealm comes in to buy a bit of time, but it's a double kill for Joe already. I think they have found the endgame scenario, a double kill for Hey. He is tired of being dove as LG finds the wipeout in Nightmare space.
They didn't need to full commit that. They could have just waited it out. Once those minion waves pushed in, that means that real world manipulation box would be out of position. But no, it was a perfect placement by He.
And with that, LG weathered the storm and finds the victory in game 2.
Legion. Now, I feel like that was a bit of a warning shot from Nightmare, though, that, hey, you think it's going to be easier than you thought? And I think, again, we know how to make risky plays that convert into us balancing things out or even taking the lead. But Legion also showing to Nightmare their decisiveness. That was a good decision to commit that real-world manipulation. The moment they saw that the high loss was just slightly out of position, they knew that they could get one. And if ever that the members of Nightmare Esports fought under that real-world manipulation, that the placement was perfect. It was actually questionable for me that we saw Cammy go into that. Despite the real world being up, it was fully maximized. There were so many stacks on that. Those are the little things Nightmare needs to fix out. Change their decision making of when to take fights, especially up against big ticket ultimates.
Absolutely. I think they had the theory right, they got the concept right, but it's more of just how do you make sure that is consistently pulled off in these fights, right? Because again, the crucial moments at the late game, the Nightmare tried to stick with the idea on who to prioritize first, but they started losing tracks of other members of Legion. That's how we saw Cammy going down 2 times in a row, despite finding the dive onto the Eve. Pretty unfortunate, but we are seeing that slow evolution of Nightmare. They still got the game 3, they still got the game 4 coming up, but this game 2 is really showing us it's pretty promising what Nightmare has displayed, and you know, eventually if they keep this up, they could probably at least draw blood from Legion. We just have to see.
Yeah, hopefully Nightmare, they do look like they can recover, and they do look like that they can come back. So hopefully we do get to see from them a good comeback. I see great potential that this could be forced out into more games. They just really need to talk to each other and really sharpen out when they will initiate some certain fights.
Yeah, so really wanted to see if Nightmare can continue this. I think if there's anything, Legion, they're fine, totally fine, right? The gameplay so far is clean and crisp. They know exactly what to do, but it's more of Nightmare Esports being able to constantly adapt and evolve, still playing to the idea, their own ideal way of ML. I think that's what makes the team that much more unique. I do like some of the itemizations. I mean, Lexi going for a Winter Crown second item into a Queen's Wings, identifying that all I need is set up and buy time, and then my team can clean it up. I want to continue this, but I mean, for me, play a fantastic game in game 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you said it. He was a man on a mission. The mission was simple: find this Eve, piss this Eve off, and he was able to do that. But you saw that committing that meant that Nightmare really need to be able to follow up to their Kali, and that's when Nart and Meow started seeing, oh wait, they'll always have like a bunch of them trying to catch up and chase. Maybe we can pick them off there.
Yeah, well, we just have to let you guys relive that game number 2. We're gonna get to the highlights and just kind of see how that whole thing played out in a bit. Here he comes.
They're supposed to have like more than 60% of market. salamat pare. Show me the payo. Are the best. Oh no, no rival game. Bye. Bye pare. Now to serves na you get those or
Back at it again for another match. Two more possibly for Legion at your service. My name is Leo, here with the Malaysian sensation, aka the Malaysian Hellcat LaFell, bringing you the second half of this grand final. LaFell, did you see what Joe God just did?
Yeah, dude, I watched the entire time, and honestly, there were moments where I felt like Nightmare could have taken it. It's just that sometimes I do feel like Jasmine as well as Opper, they're doing a good job. Don't get me wrong, but maybe a little bit too good of a job because I feel like they're being way ahead of themselves where no one is really there to back them up.
Got it right. The draft is also very important.
Yeah.
Legion is just too good at what they do, and they've blocked out most good options for Nightmare to get a good position, even in game. That's the first time I've seen a good real-world manipulation. Like, no one was touching Hehe in that top lane defense. So we're going to award the MVP here to Joe God. 10-2-8. What can stop this man out of Mekong, LaFell? What does it take to stop Joe?
Well, puts our space. All right, it's extended. All right, we say it like his short name is Hehe.
I apologize.
Yeah. If you want more respect, just Mr. Hehe. Mr. Hehe sounds good enough. But yeah, Joe honestly seems unstoppable, and giving him a hero like Suyo kind of makes the game a little bit unfair. And I kind of feel like this is the situation where we're talking about the drafts. It looks a little bit unfair because Legion looks like they're a little bit more prepared, where they look like they've seen 3 steps ahead, where we're just gonna pick up one good hero that's not gonna get countered all that easily, and then the rest is just us countering you guys.
Jasmine and Lexi are on the receiving end of that seemingly clairvoyant nature of Legion. Seeing 3 steps ahead, make sure the Alpha and the Highlight can't even touch the backline, can't even touch Daylight, although he did drop a couple of times. Lord Hehe as well, 3 this game, 15 minutes. But I don't know, especially since Lexi's coming in rather cold. This is a sub-in since Ninja played game 1. Going into game 3, I don't know if Lexi having the reps now, being, warmed up, will make a difference. I think it's got to come down to the draft.
I mean, like, here's the thing, Leo. Like, they have to win this one because what other chances that Nightmare has a reverse sweep? When's the last time we've seen that happen?
I don't know. It's never happened. Not in the last 48 hours, at least.
Yeah, no. 48 hours, yeah, for sure. Never seen it. But yeah, honestly, for this match, Nightmare, they need to get their priorities straight because there are moments where I see Opper has his eyes on Mr. Hehe, and then the rest, I'm a little bit unsure of what their real target is.
And think about this. The way that Sir Hehe plays, he's a utility mage. For the most part, he's the glue, not the hero, but the one that holds together whatever craziness Joe God, Nart, Meow, and Daylight are up to. So if you attack that core, if you attack that soul of Legion, then you have the rest of the cores to deal with you. That's not a winning strategy. So now I think Nightmare are just doing the most instinctual thing to do. Like, I understand they're attacking Joe.
Yeah, by the way, just to let chat know, if you guys haven't heard of sarcasm before, hint, hint. Anyways, right now we're jumping into the draft here where, again, Chip banned up. Perfectly understandable. Fanny as well as 1-1. This might be the first 1-1 I've seen ban, at least with the days that I've casted.
they're just going for the scatter shot here, LaFell. They're just, pointing it in whatever direction they think there's trouble. So they take out Joe's Fanny, they take out Daylight's 1-1. Literally just happened about 10 minutes ago. And this allows for Legion to get real creative. They're just getting rid of options that will outright make them lose lineups. So again, Chip out, Jushin out. What this does show, at least, is some level of respect to Nightmare. Again, not to say what LG did against the final last night was disrespect. I'm just saying they know that Jasmine is capable of amazing chip plays. And even if it does remain open, they would rather not do it.
I just wonder if LG is going to let the Suyo through just to see if Nightmare can actually do good on it. And I kind of feel like respect should be, shown towards Suyo, because at this point I feel like most players, especially when you're in the grand finals, Leo, I'm pretty sure people know how to play the Suyo. So if they're not going to ban out the Suyo and then they're going to ban out something like the Phoveus or the Khalid, then that's going to be interesting for me, letting go of that master of everything kind of hero. And they're banning out a Cho, so the Suyo is open.
Yep, Suyo's open, but the Mekong favorites that you mentioned are still out there. The Phoveus, the Khalid, Narts, Tigreal. There it is. Meow. Meow gets his hands on the Phoveus, and a Southeast Asian favorite as well. Everywhere you look, the Matilda is there, and Nart's gonna play it. Nart on a Matilda with Meow on the Phoveus. I would not be surprised, folks, if this would be another lane swap. If they somehow put Meow in mid to give Lord Hehe a better attack and go in the XP so they can bully Oper. But now, ball is in Nightmare's court. What does Nightmare pick up? I reckon they go for mid. Pick up a mid now so that Sosol can hold it down and Lexi can have good rotations. I think that's the key. You don't have to go toe-to-toe with Joe all the time. And they pick up a solid flex in the Gatot. And there's... Oh, wait. This is not... Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. I did say a solid anchor. Something that'll help Lexi with his rotations. But a Sicilian is just too fragile. It's good with range, yes, but now you're giving Legion a clear target. This is legit a magnet to Legion's Steel Resolve. They pick up the Hayabusa to close up the first phase, now banning out the Khalid, a Jasmine favorite. Also a possible pick for Oper. I think Nightmare now attacks gold. Just take out more gold picks. How is the Harith still open? Get rid of the Harith now. What was that, LaFell? What was that, LaFell? You were saying something about the Harith. It's not a... Oh, there they see. All right, they respect the fact that Legion isn't just a Harith... isn't just the Mekong team. They might have a Harith in them. All right, not exactly the way the draft is going, especially in that last phase for LG, the Hilda ban. I think they're just protecting Joe here. LG, hunkering down in mid with that Nathan. I'm liking that. I'm liking the Nathan. Good amount of range. Try to find that Sicilian. If Lexi goes ahead and tries to threaten you, go ahead. Click the entropy swap out, or rather entropy swap out. Closing up the draft, Nightmare. Just straight up going for lore. These are the lovers, Sicilian and Carmilla. I've never seen these two in the same field in a professional competitive game like this. And in the grand finals, no less. Nightmare, what are you up to? I can hear you. I don't know if chat can hear you, LaFell. All right, folks, we're just working out LaFell's situation. He seems to be trapped in the Aether, and he's talking to y'all, but some way, somehow, it's not coming through. There's the gold laner for Nightmare. That's Cammy picking up the Claude, and Legion closing up the draft with Aurora. I like the Aurora. Definitely helps, especially when the Claude goes a dive in, when Suyu and Gatot goes a dive in. You can drop that Frigid Glacier on top of you and then get out of dodge. I don't know. Since this is it's a little cheesy, I'll tell you now. The whole Carmilla Sicilian thing, not exactly sure how that duo mechanic is going to work against Legion's very sound draft. This is a draft that I think would fly even in the likes of an MPL Philippines finals, an MPLID, MY finals. Like, that's how sound and strong this draft by LG is. I think they're going for the throat here. They might want to go for the 4-0. All right, folks, I'm hoping y'all heard LaFell, because I hear him and we're speaking, and it looks like we're good. LaFell, what do you think of the draft? It's likely, again, the very sound approach by Legion. Their hesitation to even acknowledge the cheese. Their resistance to Nightmare's cheese. I think that's the key. I think that's definitely what's going to sweep him. All right. Looks like I'll be taking over for a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 3. Nightmare of Laos going up against Vietnam's very own Legion Esports. Nart gets picked off. Lexi going ham. Defiant to the end. 2-0. We're far from match point. Not so fast, Nart. Not so fast. So far, quiet in the gold lane. That's close to where that first blood happened. Lexi now fast on the rotation. Going into mortal mode. Getting extra movement speed on that Suyo. Looking to affect this XP lane matchup between Oper and Meow. Folks, I may have spoken too soon. It seems like Nightmare have stabilized. 2 minutes in, and they're up by 500 gold. Nart once again, pressure by Lexi. In comes Joe, still no level 4. Got that stun, got that freeze. Jasmine recover. Down bottom, Daylight, dueling against Kami. Now Joe has the level 4. Nart picking up some wisps. Kami going in, BMI. Joe comes through, and the juke coming in, shadow kill. Great use of the damage reduction underneath the turret. Nart gets punished again. 0-2. 0-2 on Legion's Roamer. Joe deep behind enemy lines. Oprah almost caught him. Meow coming through mid. A lot of heat, a lot of pressure coming in from Nightmare here. Up now by about 1,000 gold. Daylight in trouble. Gets caught by Jasmine. Wings by wings out. Guiding Winds, that is. I do miss Farsa. Another turtle spawning about a minute. Lower quarter. And there's a lot of pressure from Nightmare. Again, from mid. Now down to bot. Looks like they're denying Daylight of Legion Esports all the farm. And that's a good chunk. 1/10 of the gold shields from down bottom. Jasmine gets frozen. In comes the rest of Legion. Lexi backing off. Sever defending from the back. Soul farming up. Taking a good chunk of that crab. Threatening even the small cap take from Joe. I can hear you. I don't know if chat can hear you. So I'm going to continue. And they traded one for a roamer too, and they're keeping it tight, like under 2,000. So it's respectable. So far, it's still Nightmare. Pedal on the metal, stepping on it. Lexi scores the second turtle. This is odd to see Nightmare just push forth. Meow gets caught by the AOG. Lexi stealing away the purple. Joe is starving. Joe is starving right now. Legion calling for the early swap here, under 5 minutes. Minute and a half before the turtle spawns. Last one, upper quarter. Meow holding it down against Lexi and Oper. Look at this rotation. Joe trying to find a flank on Akami. I wonder if he knows. He's in the bush. Confirmed. BMI out. And just like that, LG, ever the veteran team, wise enough to know they can't fight, not face to face, not against Nightmare, not right now. Plays the map instead. First turret taken down by LG up top. So far, it's Lexi just taking everything he can from Joe, inch by inch. There's the ult coming in from Jasmine. No follow-up, no harm, no foul. Lexi about to walk into 4 members of Legion here. He knows. Nightmare sweeping the rest of Legion's jungle. Half a minute till the turtle comes up. Looking at the items. Meow is holding it down. Respectable what Meow is doing. Meow now currently has a Thunderbelt and a Dreadnought armor. Definitely helps against too easy for Lexi. Good chunk of defense against an early Sicilian on Sol as well. Oper, though, also has the same pair of pants and a Thunderbelt. Jasmine picked up a Thunderbelt, too. The starved Joe, though, only has a Hunter Strike. Takes down Lexi from out of nowhere. That's a 3-for right there. A gank on Lexi. Got caught slacking. Now suddenly, it's Legion's turn to clap back. Legion now making a play. Oper gets knocked up. Circling Eagle. Meow dunking on Oper. Knock up. Jasmine looking to repair the situation. Daylight gets a push down bottom. Turtle. Still standing. Top flank. Held by Cammy. In comes a big one. AOG. Heh flickers out. Nart taken out. Meow takes down Soul. Down to the left of your screens. Now Jasmine dashing around. Cammy gets caught out. Cammy gets squashed. Joe gets a kill. Now they turn to the turtle. Legion have stabilized. Legion back in control. Legion in the driver's seat. And it looks like the Vietnamese champions have come alive. Game 3. 7.5 minutes in. Took them a while, but now Nightmare are back to square one.
Stuff hello.
We do have a sub joining us now. Husky. Thanks for coming in, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got to keep the show going, folks. So, I mean, I've been watching this on the sideline, but just like you said, Leo, they have come back to life. Legion so far, again, maintaining that map pressure, but it's good to see the Nightmare putting on a good fight. I say that they have just lost So-So, and they might just lose Jasmine in the process. The Lovebird sent to the grave. Nappa barely making it out.
Romeo and Juliet. It's old literature. And it's a tale as old as time. Look how they lay next to each other, inches apart. I don't think that's how they wanted it to go, but here we are. Oper and Lexi going for the defense. Legion Esports. How did they do that, Husky? How suddenly, while they were down almost 3,000 gold in the early game, they just suddenly clap back?
Man, it's just a clean execution. I think LG just understood more on how to kind of play from behind, and you compare that to Nightmare Esports from the first 2 games. Nightmare start to lose focus because they tunnel vision, but for Legion, they see the big picture. That's how they've been able to make it work and get that comeback to equalize the state of the game.
Something tells me it started with Lexi falling. Oh wait, Joe gets caught up. Just a little too much CC right there. It's one thing to be trained in Shinobi arts, and another just gets sandwiched by 3 members of Nightmare. Now suddenly Nightmare pushing back in. Oh, can Daylight survive this? Daylight's about to get pincered.
They go for it. The AOG to cut off his escape route. Daylight basically out in no man's land. Uses the Purify. But most likely he's going to go down. That one delivered over to So-So. Meanwhile, the backline compromised. Cammy goes down. But Nart trades his life for it.
Legion is so messy. I don't know how they end up in that situation. But did you see how spread out they were? Again, and as great as the Vietnamese champions are, you would rather just hold it as a unit instead of being that spread out. Joe now looking for more.
Winter Crown, also Sicilian actually will be safe for now. They're going to try and chase him down, stun him out, Sanguine Claw, bring him back. As the Aurora will lose the passive but ends up falling anyways. Joe ends up having to sack his own teammate for it. Goes back in with the shadows, cannot connect with So-So.
Same sentiments, Husky. Same sentiments. You're an Aurora. Why would you dive in deep without your peel, without your roam, hell, without even meow? The fight continues.
Continues to want to dive this. In fact, the Lord now in dangerous territory. Of course, Nightmare will secure it without the presence of Joe. There's no way LG will have a chance.
This is not how they expected it to go. Not like this. LG, Legion Esports, Vietnam's champions, 4-0 in the Vietnamese Nationals earlier this year to qualify for this very tournament. They usually play clean. What's going on? They're sending bodies, throwing them out in the Philippines. This is what we call an audition. You fall in line, you come in one at a time. It's unacceptable.
This looks, I agree, this looks so much more messy than the first two games where they were composed, they lose a fight, they kind of readjust, recuperate, and then they clap back. But the past 3 minutes has just been LG going for these trades where I honestly feel like they could have just held back a bit more. And then now with the Lord, they're going to try and crash it into the inhibitor, at least get the Holy Shield out. LG holding the front, able to prevent that utility from going down. In fact, with the circling Eagle, just a big spin, gets a knockup, but gets control in the process. Jasmine somehow still survives. Aurora drops it out. The freaking Glacier is just good. Joam finds a connection with the Shadow to the back, assassinates Cammy, and that is what LG needs to continue to fight. Daylight now is going to buy a bit of time. Forward with the entropy. So-So gets taken out by the Ricochet, and Oppa will have to disengage with the AOG. LG finding 2 kills.
That was LG's first clean and well thought out engage in the past 3 or 4 minutes. Well done, LG. Suddenly, I think you're back in control. LG now choking out Nightmare out of their resources, taking away Lexi's purple. Now going in for the push.
Entropy, they actually got the Petrify to stop Joe from using his ult, but still Jasmine goes down. The Entropy repositioned into Lexi, but he has that Winds of Nature. Daylight survives, Lexi gets out, LG disengaged.
LG now suddenly showing a different side of themselves, the side I know, being more controlled, more disciplined. It seems like they're actually thinking of their engages. This is the LG that's gotten 2-0 against Nightmare here. Not even before lunch in Vietnam, not even before a lot of people have started their day, and LG are just 2 games away from winning in the grand finals of MCC Mekong Season 4. Husky, how does Nightmare come back? Because I think it's gonna a while for So-So to actually be online. So-So just takes too long.
I know a guy that can answer that question. I think LaFell is gonna help me with that.
I can.
So hold on, there's a fight 3 for Lexi, actually taking quite a bit of damage, but the Hayabusa is actually has to get out of there because he almost died himself. So a little bit of a skirmish, but nothing really happened there.
Joe, very, very close to death, living on the edge. Now Meow putting up a barrier. Jasmine and Oprah looking for an in. Oh, Lexi, look at Lexi!
Oh, hold on. Looks like Lexi got taken down. He was frozen, unable to really do anything. And right now, Nightmare, unfortunately, are in a situation where they don't have a jungler. They still fight this out, but it looks like they're not going to opt for that option.
LaFell coming in. Hot tag. So does the Lord for Legion. About 14 minutes in, just barely able to take down this inhibitor.
Yeah, but right now, honestly, Leo, I gotta tell you, man, this 2,000 goal lead feels like 12 because, honestly, at this point, Daylight having the Natan skills much more, even compared to a Sicilian. I mean, at this point, sure, the Sicilian's got items, but the Sicilian got stacks. I'm really not sure about that.
And looking at his farm, he's just at 7,500, LaFell. 7,500. That's not even halfway through. He barely has 2 items. What?
Yeah, and right now, Legion, they're continuing the siege. Able to take the top inhibitor. It looks like the Hayabusa goes in. The damage looks like it's not going to be enough. But Daylight, though, able to take down Opper. LG, at this point, they're playing as safe as they can. And look at that freeze. The Frigid Glacier hits onto the tree. And right now, LG, they're in prime position to end the game. They take down Cammy. The minions are in. And looks like game number 3 goes over to Legion. It's match point.
And just in time for you to witness it, LaFell. Welcome back. Legion, just 1 game away from taking down Nightmare, from taking the series in a sweep. And it looks like Joe didn't even break a sweat.
Here's the thing, Leo. Before we even go to the in-game analysis, let me just say, come over to Malaysia. I'll treat you to some nice food, You deserve it, bud. You deserve it. You did good. You did amazing. Speaking of amazing, yeah, honestly, Joe, not just Joe, I would argue the entire team. I'm not sure what kind of air conditioning they have there, but yeah, none of them are sweating, man. All of them look very comfortable. You could have lied to me and said they just woke up from a nap, because that's how they look. They look refreshed.
Well, actually close to the truth, because they're playing in Vietnam. This is the first time at least I personally are seeing them. I'm seeing them play on home soil. Like for the majority of the past couple of years, we've always seen them, out in Riyadh, out in Jakarta. We've always seen them in international events, but this is them playing in their most comfortable, literally in their backyard.
Yeah, and again, this is quite the performance, because they showed quite good discipline. The way that they've been farming is, I would say, getting up there. Not exactly perfect just yet, but so far they've been showing up good stuff here. And now they're at match point. Now, this is a situation where you usually would say, okay, now it's time for them to close out the series, but we've seen reverse sweeps happen before. I haven't seen anything that Nightmare has shown that they're capable of giving us a reverse sweep, because they even got the CEO and it was still not enough.
But a man could dream. I understand where you're coming from, LaFell. If there's a miracle somewhere here, maybe Nightmare doesn't even know it's there, but one could hope. But I'll tell you now, let's take it 1 game at a time. If some way, somehow, Nightmare can win 1, then maybe slowly we can build up to a reverse sweep. But truth be told, what's happening here, especially in the moments where you see Nightmare winning, is LG just being messy. I don't know if that's on purpose, if they're limit testing, or they're just seeing how far they can go by their lonesome. Like if they just go in gung-ho like a ranked game player.
Yeah, it could actually be Nightmare finding some cracks in Legion's play, where Legion has to be the one to be a little bit more proactive rather than, a bit more reactive rather than proactive, where that's why we see a little bit messy coming in from Legion. But Nightmare, they just have 1 more game. And to be fair, in terms of a reverse sweep, the first game is always the hardest. Once you get over that hurdle, everything else is smooth sailing, because at least now you have the momentum. LG, I haven't seen a lot of blunders in draft. Nightmare, however, we see them trying to be a little bit cheesy here, right? Having the Carmilla, having the Sicilian, it does seem like they're really digging in as deep as they can in the pockets, and we got to see how deeper their pockets are, because at this point, Sicilian and Carmilla is probably as deep as I've seen in any kind of game.
Well, luckily, optimistically, one might think Nightmare are sandbagging their strategies for the wild card, because say what you will about them winning this grand final, again, it's a difference of $2,000. That's a good amount of money. They're still looking forward to that flight to Malaysia to compete in the wild card. So maybe they're, again, they're just happy to be here. They're just happy they're flying out, next month. But at this point, I gotta ask you: do you think their spirits are broken? Do you think they're just gonna bring out whatever because LG are just that damn good?
Don't think their spirits are broken just yet, because we've seen, like, I feel like Carmillon and Cecilia are legit strat that they have been trading for and they thought would be the kryptonite to what Legion has been showing. I feel like they're not really all that down just yet. I'm just worried that they don't have any other strategies. And you were talking about them probably just sandbagging this and then saving some strats for wildcard, which I feel like is definitely an optimistic way of seeing it, especially considering that the meta might change. Now, there's one thing that we could say, that in game number 4, perhaps what Nightmare just has to do is just say, you know what, screw it, we're going for pure comfort. 2AC Elixir is an amazing jungler. Suyo is an amazing jungle hero. But maybe it's just one of those things where he doesn't have enough reps in. He doesn't have enough time on the Suyo, especially if most of the training time it gets banned out. So maybe they will just opt for, you know what, let's grab second pick and just get what we're really much used to.
Sounds like a solid plan for game 4. We are at match point. Legion here, drafting a very late 2024 meta MLBB draft. Like, when you look at the top of the top tiers, like, that's what you end up with, like whatever they have here. But for Nightmare, yeah, I guess number 1 is to play comfort. Again, you can play with these priorities however you want. Play comfort, or number 2, be fundamental. Like think of your range, think of your damage profile, think of wave clear, think of your rotations, and then consider comfort after. So with that said, they'll have a lot of time to sit down and figure out how to attack game 4. Maybe start their campaign for a reverse sweep, but we will go in a quick break. When we come back, more action coming in from MCC Mekong Season 4. This is the Grand Finals. He's LaFell, I'm Leo. We'll be right back.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân, gói cước Lux của FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Among the legends of Zhuan, there exists a woman only known as Zhuxin. With lantern in hand, her butterflies flutter with purpose, seeking wishes to fulfill. Some say she grants the wishes of children. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment, to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Jushin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi. Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Thử ngay.
My butterflies aren't so gentle. My butterflies aren't so gentle.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân, gói cước Lux của FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Eliminated.
Realme 13 Plus.
Among the legends of Zhuan, there exists a woman only known as Zhuxin. With lantern in hand, her butterflies flutter with purpose, seeking wishes to fulfill. Some say she grants the wishes of children with childlike whimsy. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Zhuxin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi, nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Thử ngay.
My butterflies are so gentle.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân, gói cước Lux của FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
Realme 13 Plus. Realme 13 Plus.
Eliminated.
Realme 13 Plus.
Among the legends of Zhuan, there exists a woman only known as Zhuxin. With lantern in hand, her butterflies flutter with purpose, seeking wishes to fulfill. Some say she grants the wishes of children with childlike whimsy. Some say she can reunite those parted by death, if only for a moment to say their goodbyes. Some even say she takes pleasure in exposing people's true intentions.
Offer that which is most precious to you, and your wish shall be granted.
Such is the enigma of mortal hearts. For millennia, Zhuxin's lantern has eliminated the night. Yet none have been able to see what lies in her heart.
Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Nghĩ thôi, làm việc cả ngày rồi. Mệt mỏi nhưng phải tiếp tục làm việc. Uống nước cốt gà Friends. Tiếp tục thôi. Nước cốt gà Friends giúp giảm mệt mỏi. Thử ngay.
My butterflies are so gentle.
Hello, boss. Tawag ka? Hello, boss. Hello, hello. Hello. Hello, boss. Hello, oh. Ano natin? Oh, sige. Andito naman yung forklift. Apo, andito naman.
Với công nghệ Wi-Fi 6 tối tân,
Okay, boss, boss. Okay.
FPT Telecom giúp gia tăng tốc độ vượt trội, mở rộng vùng phủ sóng thêm 50%, mang đến những trải nghiệm trực tuyến hoàn hảo. Từ làm việc, học tập cho tới xem video 8K, livestream, chơi game và hơn thế nữa, tận hưởng cuộc sống đẳng cấp với những giá trị xứng tầm từ Lux. Đăng ký tại shop.fpt.vn hoặc các văn phòng giao dịch trên toàn quốc. Hotline 1900 6600.
And we are back for the M Challenge Cup Mekong Season 4. It's Renmar and Leo to deliver the action for this game number 4. Potentially the final one to win it all. Leo, what's going on? What's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm great. That game 3 was I'm challenged to find the words to describe it, given how Legion, some way, somehow, after a back and forth, clawed their way into a dominant win still, even with how Nightmare started. So now, we might see the closer. I think definitely Legion's going to go for the throne.
Yeah, I think this is the time to put on a draft that can win the game fast before 15 minutes, because it seems like as the series is going on, you see the Nightmare Esports squad getting more and more comfortable with dealing with Legion. In game 3, we got to see them get their first early game lead of the series. They were able to get to the point where they were threatening the base, but then still somehow it got turned around, going back to one of the problems for Nightmare Esports of the, how do you call this, that decision making of when to really call and get those fights. So let's see if they can, get everything together and force game number 5, maybe even take it all the way.
As I said to LaFell, and as painful as it is to all our Laotian fans, to get to a reverse sweep, you got to focus on winning that first game. And LaFell agreed. That's where it starts, and that's the most difficult step. So now, going into the draft, Legion's on blue. Ranmar, you know what that means? Legion is the most powerful position in the draft in all of 2024.
It warrants so many bans. It warrants the chip ban, and since he became available for pro play, it definitely warrants a Suyo ban. And considering that you are also up against Joe, you don't want to give the banning, which means the Jushin will be available for LG if they want to pick it up. Earlier, the
chip
didn't opt to go for the Jushin, if ever the chip. I still think they're not crazy, right? They're not gonna give chip, right? Yeah, of course they're not.
All right. So, what's left? Look, even Joe's saying, "Hey, coach, what is this?" Oh, Jushin. Give Jushin to Hehe. I mean, rather, Mr. Hehe. All right, there it is.
Yeah, yesterday we got to see Jushin perform really well, especially on the hands of Hehe. Yeah, using the Crimson Beacon at the right time. Just when you thought you could get him down, he'll be able to survive. Nightmare, looking like they're going to be opting for a Khalid EXP lane. I don't mind going ahead and picking up the Gata Kacha now, because or later on in the draft. LG will get the ETH. Wait, excuse me. Huh? I don't know.
I think that is a Gatot. I think we're just waiting for the Gatot to show up.
Yeah.
And what? All right, that's an Oper special. So I think they're no, Lexi played a Benedetta too.
Yeah. So they go for the flex option. We don't know where this Benedetta will go. If it will go to the EXP or jungle, because it could go to the Roam. LG.
It could go to Legion.
Or it could go to the Legion. No.
Wait, there it is.
Okay. All right. We're just sorting a few things out here and there. But LG, I think it's safe to say their first 3 picks mess up an Eve.
Yep. Deep dive. And Nightmare going to spread out their threats picking up that Ling. Still don't know where that Khalid is going. Doesn't say exactly, but I expect Nightmare will now attack Daylight, take out all those gold laners.
I wouldn't mind if LG went ahead and picked up the Claude if it's still gonna be available for them, or maybe even the Moskov. The Harith is a little bit too direct for my taste. At least with the Claude, you can come in from weirder angles. I want to go. I want to see LG go dive. I can't believe it's. I'm saying that. It's rare for me to say it, but I want to see them go all dive.
Nightmare bans the Nathan. They gotta. Because Nathan works as both. Nathan is good range, and Nathan can dive if he wants to. That's why they have what we call the Benny Bomb. So if Nightmare doesn't ban it here, they pick it, or else they suffer Daylight's Wrath.
That's true. If LG bans out a Claude here, Nightmare should ban out. Ooh. Okay, no, Nightmare does pick out the Claude. So now LG has to think, oh, do we ban the Nathan or leave it open for the off chance you might end up with it?
But that's a two-step process, Renmar. Like, they have to hope that Nightmare don't pick it, and then can they only get it.
Yeah. So they go ahead and take out the Gacha. I agree with you. Nathan looks really good at the 4th spot here for Nightmare. You don't need to save it for last because it is a good option for LG.
Great.
If ever LG just needs another diving roamer, although they can pick up a Tig to really make sure that the Ling has to time its entry.
Both teams can afford a Tig, actually. So it's a hot commodity. I think a Tig for LG with a good flicker could really mess up Soul's RWM. Like, he has to consider whether the flicker's up, whether the implosion is up. So Nightmare now at a precipice. They instead go for the Harith. All right, solid dive. Like, they are just all about the box, man.
Yeah, so everyone wants to fight under the real world manipulation. So this is going to be we saw the Lunox struggle against the Eve earlier. So I think that'd be a very difficult choice. They show the Jawhead already. So again, full dive, separate, man marking. It's going to be a brutal team fight for LG, but it's still very highly punishable because it warrants more individual play than team play.
Oh, there it is.
As you called it, it's the Nathan.
Daylight. All right, well, Nightmare secured their last pick here. Likely a roamer, unless we're already looking at it in the hands of Jasmine, this Khalid. You mentioned man marking. You know what kind of draft I miss? You know what kind of gameplay I miss?
What?
Man fighting. Like, I just miss these little 1v1s, these 2v2s. Like, we never get that anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot more synergy required now. But I think with the draft that these two have shown, I think that's good. You called the Tig earlier as a good option also for Nightmare. We thought LG would go for it. I'm okay. Whoa, okay. Oh, that's greedy from both ends, but it should be very entertaining. I'll leave it as that. Very entertaining.
As entertaining as it is, I think this is Nightmare's best, shot at a gambit. Like, this is a solid draft, Renmar. I gotta say, like, I love it. That's the Angeline combo, an extra layer of protection from Soul in case, things get hairy, go sideways. Oper can call in for a hot guard as well. And Angela is Harriet's girlfriend. Like, this works for me, I think. But they gotta play well. Like, technically, fundamentally, it's good, but that's an ideal. They have to still fight against LG.
Yeah, because against all things, LG has some semblance of what we would call a front line. You could count the Benedetta as a front line as diving to the back and being annoying. Same goes for the Jawhead. Even though he's more pick-off based, he's not really a line holder as we would think. The dude can go to the front. While Nightmare, they only have Opper, so it's a lot of pressure on this Khalid. Welcome to the potential final game of the M Challenge Cup Mekong Season 4 Grand Finals. Nightmare trying to avoid the repetition of history, avoiding getting swept by Legion.
And I hate to say it, but this is what Legion does, man. Especially on home soil, especially in the Mekong region. They just sweep. They eat everyone up. And when Joe God has his eyes on his prey, there's very little that comes in his way. Joe, by the way, did you see last game, Renmar? You see what happened to his Hayabusa?
Oh yeah, it was Hayabusa earlier.
That's what the kids call a strug. He was in a strug, and he still won.
So somehow able to fight it. Oh no! Okay. if ever he got that pick off early, that wouldn't have been a shrug at the beginning. It would have been a good start.
That would have
I
been a
don't
dub.
know. That would have been a dub. All right, sorry, I'm not familiar with the lingo of the kid. You're much younger than I am.
I'll get you covered later on. Checking out the items here. I think this is why, Renmar, look at this. He started with the attack speed. That's why he was extra. Oh, wait. Jasmine's down. Lexi coming in. Few swipes at Daylight. Can he survive? Tempest of Blades up. Daylights. Got his Daylights knocked out of him. Nart with the flicker punch to the face.
Double kill for this Jawhead. And again, this is the frightening thing about a lineup that doesn't have a lot of fronts when you're up against a Jawhead. The Jawhead will punch you and throw missiles at you. And now LG will be getting this first turtle without a problem, as the Khalid is having a difficult time managing the lane against the Jushin parked in the EXP lane, as it's Meow as the Benedetta going around. This has been the LG playbook. Put your fighter in the mid to rotate and be annoying.
It's happened again. Now Nart deep behind enemy territories. RWM by Soso punishing this Jawhead. Down goes Nart alongside the little girl inside of him. Joe looking for a pickoff. Not gonna happen. Nightmare punishing LG's deep cut into their jungle. You're talking about this Meow special and Lord Hehe being sent up. How many times have they done this in the playoffs alone? I can count like 3 or 4 times already, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, they've already also done that twice this series, if not every game. It's just an understanding of the matchups, the strength of the Jushin and the EXP. Low Meow!
He's soft at this point, but there's an off-cam kill. Down goes Cammy. Hehe looking to punish Oper. Doesn't have enough mana. Will recover off of the Elegant Gem. What's going on down bottom? What was that?
It's just non-stop pressure. First from the Jawhead and the Hayabusa. Jawhead and just the Ling, and then the Hayabusa and the Harith, excuse me, rather. And all three of them alongside the Nathan. It's just, that's a shrug. Cammy is experiencing what the kids would call a shrug, with all of the rotations going into him. EXP is struggling and losing, so Rome and mid for Nightmare are having to commit resources on the other side of the map. It's a difficult play.
And I think that's the key here to LG's slow snowball. I'm going to call it that, the SS, the slow snowball. Because right now, you're looking at a 3-minute game, and they're up barely 200, 300 gold. But if you constantly attack those specific roles, you compromise Cammy, you make sure, mid and Rome have to go into fights half-cocked, or at least in a defensive mindset. Yeah, Nightmare's not going to get far. Look, now they're up by 500.
Nard. Good zone out from this Jawhead. That's a free turret.
Here we go. The RWM, the answer by Soso. Nard gets hit by a turret. Maybe a little too much. Here comes the hard guard. Cammy looking to punish. Daylight. Ooh, skirting away. In comes Joe taking down Cammy. It's nap time.
Perfect time for LG to cap off that kill on that Harith with Daylight almost falling. They weren't able to get the turret. They really needed to get that kill on the Cammy to make sure that it wasn't a wasted effort. Now that tower will finally get broken with the Angela getting sandwiched in between the Haya and the Benedetta.
Jasmine!
Ooh, Jasmine able to get away.
This is what Meow is good at. He's building tank Benedetta, so he's going to constantly cut through Nightmare's lines and compromise anything that they want to build. These boxes are going to be near impossible to make with Meow on the run. Oper circling around. No dice, not going to stop Joe with that turtle take, and that's the second one for Legion.
Checking the items, the Thunderbelt already for this Benedetta. Haya still on the way to the second. Let's see if we'll round out the attack speed boots, or we'll go into the next damage item. Already has a Hunter Strike. Ling already has Berserker's Fury. At least too easy for Lexi. He's close in terms of the farm. But the farm disparity of the Nathan and the Harith has gotten out of hand. 1,105 minutes in is a clear sign that you're already playing for your sudden mid-game power spike. The good thing is this is a Harith plus Angela, so it sort of evens it out somewhat, but they cannot afford another massive loss and another massive win for this Nathan. They need to let Cammy catch up.
That's right. The fact that Cammy is never alone might even be a liability to some extent, because that Harith might act like a piñata once Nart gets his hands on him, or even Joe. So far, the game has kind of slowed down in the past minute. Not much happening. I think Hopper is just looking to build up on his stacks. He does have a Thunderbelt of his own as well. And Hehe has let go of that winning lane since our gold laners have switched up top already. Lower quarters where the turtle will spawn. And look at this. Look at Meow. Ooh. Lexi checks in.
With a simple check, Benedetta takes a lot. Oh!
Soso goes down despite popping the shield on the RWM. Joe backs off. Meow gets caught with a raging sandstorm. Heartguard onto Lexi. Quick trigger on Jasmine's finger. Now Lexi gets pop force in the Tempest Ablaze. In comes Joe throwing out some blades of his own. The shurikens missing. No one home. The crossover. Jasmine gonna go down. Nart gets a kill. Free for LG.
Perfect timing for Nart to come in. Thought he committed the flicker, but no, he just straight up walked into it. A little bit of a movement speed and then tossed him.
They're not done.
Oh!
Oper here gonna get popped. LG are non-stop.
Cammy. Oh. Punishing the aggression of Soso. Daylight still going forward, but he gets punished by too easy for Lexi. LG cannot overheat like this because just when we were talking about it, the Harith got a little bit more gold, but it's still more wins for the Nathan, man. He already has 2 items and 5k.
When you're this far ahead from a Harith, I don't know how one could say no to this. You're so in the moment, and you saw Joe, you saw your core come in. I don't blame Daylight, but yeah, that happened maybe 1-2 more times. Say goodbye to this lead. Say goodbye to this last turtle. It'll be tough for you to go for the first Lord if Daylight continues to play like that.
Okay, Legion forward, Nightmare, good position for them. Joe gonna cut in.
Here comes the Hayabusa. Shadow kill over 3 targets. Not what you want to do. Jasmine goes down. RWM answered by Soso. Oh, the early trigger. The early ult. Tempest Blade. Down goes Daylight. Traded out 2 for 1. A losing trade for Legion. Nightmare come alive. Nightmare going for the turtle this time. Joe holding the perimeter. Oper and Hehe. In comes Joe one more time. Slash, slash, slash. Flicker off of Oper. He's fine. Turtle turns into a Lord.
Questionable decision.
Oh! Lexi! Heartguard throwing out that puppet on a string. And suddenly the turn Nightmare. They're saying it's Blitz's Lord.
I don't know if that was a miscommunication for Daylight to suddenly go forward like that. You saw Joe. Again, the lineup of NM is so soft that this ultimate is enough.
They might go for it. Kami secures the Lord, but at what cost? There's the Harith. Dropping the 7-force. Dancing, dancing, dancing. Taking down 1. Nart is out. Oper taken down by Daylight, 1 for 1. But at the end of the day, Nightmare got a big prize.
LG starting to get a little bit sloppy, but you still see them knowing when to take trades when they need to take trades. But their initiations have been costing them. Again, Joe has enough damage that even though he would commit the shadow kill onto 3 or 4, it's so much that a little bit of a follow-up from your teammates already will secure a kill. If it's not going to be on Jasmine or Cammy, it could be Soso. But then, somehow, LG pulled the trigger in a team fight that I don't think was supposed to happen. Joe.
How? How is Joe going to get away with this? This is how. Through sheer game IQ. Through sheer shenanigans. And that's it. He's down. Gets it by Tempest of Blades. Took a while, but that's a Lingen and Angela. He hoped. He dreamed to survive, but it wasn't going to happen, Renmar.
I thought that he would forgo clicking his shadow and instead just going ahead and trying to make it to the Cyclone Eye, but I think no matter what, he would have gotten caught out. Oper, wow, the damage he's taking!
And they take out Oper. He gets punished. The Crimson Beacon from Hehe trying to catch Kami. Put him into a corner. Time out, young man. Nightmare, disengage.
One of the good things for Nightmare right now is that they find themselves with a fleeting time on the hands of the Angela, meaning that if ever they decide to commit something aggressively and it doesn't go well, they just need to secure a kill where the Angela's involved so that they can re-engage relatively quickly, going in with another set of Heart Guard. If it's not going to be for the same hero that he used to dive and initiate with, it's going to be someone else. So that's something really needs to take into Legion needs to take into consideration. On the way to the Holy Crystal is the Nathan, 2 items already for this Hayabusa. the Ling. Significant lead though. Too easy for Lexi. Significant lead over Joe. 2,600 and plus. This Ling Angela combo for Nightmare could actually be the downfall of Legion if they're not careful.
It's huge. At worst, it's a piñata. At best, it's literally a juggernaut. A battering ram, a sledgehammer towards LG's fragile lineup. Is this right? Am I seeing a Sky Piercer on rather Lord Hehe's Jushin?
Yeah, what? Lord Hehe has it. Sky Piercer to Jushin. Now that screams confidence. Again, he was so difficult to catch when he was playing that in the mid, when he was going up against 3v Esport. He was the guy. He was him, and I think it's just a confidence of Hehe to say, you know what? I don't think they're gonna kill me. But the question is he gonna be able to get the kills?
You need the kills. That's just how the item works. And so far, he is nil on that stat. Well, let's see how that pays off. Again, on several different facets, Legion are playing for the win. But right now, when you're down 2,000 gold, you've lost the first Lord. That's not a winning situation for me.
Yeah, we call that a toughie from our generation.
A toughie.
A toughie. That one it is. Legion, not going to be able to break that tower in mid just yet. Almost, though. That's just a tickle away. Honestly, you can Shadow in as a Hayabusa, 2 basic attacks, and he could go out. But good zoning right now by Nightmare that I don't think Legion can find a good enough spot to be able to contest this Lord. But with the Nathan of the Jawhead coming in with a conceal, this could be big.
Nart, spot Soul with the ejector, gets popped, forcing the winner's crown, and Lion goes down. The RWM the answer back, looking for the ha in the back line. Soul gets taken out, but Nart as well, 2-for-1 the current trades. Meow and Hehe backing off. Meow and Hehe running through. Oh no, Meow gets taken down. Hehe as well. It's a disaster for Legion. Nightmare might actually force a game number 5. It's just Joe left to defend. Can he do it? He can't clear the minions.
That's it. This should be it. And Joe gets taken out.
The base is left naked. Nightmare have done it. They have forced us into a game number 5.
And finally, everything that Nightmare has experienced in the first 3 games, you thought it would happen in game 3, but no, it happens here on what could have been their final game in this game number 4. They've slowly downloaded the tendencies of Legion, and behind a very, dare I say, greedy draft, well, they were able to get the wins that they needed to get.
This is Legion's first game loss, if I'm not mistaken, in this whole tournament.
Yeah.
Wow, Nightmare making the Vietnamese Kings bleed.
Yeah, and now this means that Legion will have to readjust a little bit. They can't just be all ultra aggressive. They need to play their timings with their team fights just a little bit better. And now they're going to have to think, are we really able to give the Angeline? Because I really thought that the draft for Legion would come out on top here to apply a lot of pressure. But no, because things got so scrappy and so messy at times, well, too easy for Lexi. It was too easy for him and the Angela.
I told you, Renmar, I like this draft. I like the fact that Jasmine can just click the ult on almost everyone. And at best, Oper was stable, as he usually is. And then, I don't know who the MVP is. I can't put my finger on it quite yet. But Lexi, Sosol, and Cammy, they all carried a good amount of the weight. They all did their job. And that was more than enough to take Legion off of their high horse, off of their throne, and make them think, how could we have done that better?
Legion Esports now gotta have to rethink and reinvent again. So, Legion, let's see what else I'll have to come up with and what else they need to fix to ensure that Nightmare won't run away with this.
I think Legion just need to play smoother, do less limit testing, and respect that Nightmare can outman them. I think that's what this was. Like, Nightmare were always just more synergized. They were more together, and that's what you get with an Angela, right? Like, that's one of your main strengths as a lineup with an Angela. You always have a +1 on you. I think that's what Legion forgot.
Yeah, quite a series. Just when we thought that we would actually be getting a sweep runaway here, for Legion, Nightmare starting to fight back. However, we did see when we were casting together in game number 2 the glimpses of Nightmare learning in game number 3, especially so close, but then now here finally bang.
Yeah, we did kind of preface that, you know, Nightmare Esports, they are constantly evolving. You know, they're slowly figuring out kind of the ways of how a Legion Esports wants to play the game. We've seen bits and pieces of how they identify certain traits of Legion Esports that they could take advantage of, and I think that Game 4 was the perfect example of how Nightmare was just able to take advantage of the draft they were given. And I think Legion Esports, they're starting to push their limits a little bit too much, and Nightmare started punishing them.
Yeah, and so now they really have to really back in a little bit more, because now they have acknowledged that they need to respect the Ling on too easy for Lexi. This was again a big gambit that they went ahead and then played an Angeling, knowing that they're up against the Jawhead. The formation for Nightmare, the formation finding for Nightmare when it comes to the key team fights wouldn't be there. But then they found more comfort in what was like a free-flowing style, wherein with too easy for Lexi flying in different parts of the map, that seemed to be like their main condition for team fighting, their main idea of a quote-unquote formation. Because while Legion is going to go ahead and initiate, they'll try to pick someone off, burst someone down, that's when Nightmare will just go, hey, we have the hard guard, right? All right, let's fight them out. Look, they've used resources trying to take down one. We have a big combination. Let's go ahead and play with it.
Yeah, I think this also kind of calls back to how Nightmare actually played majority of the grand finals, where you have this contingency plan. Things don't work out, we are going to start sending our jungler to the side lanes to try to play the map, draw attention from LG a little bit. Even from game 3, we did see moments of that, right, where Legion tried to start to play a bit more loose, and sometimes even felt a bit desperate, like going for these 1-for-1 trades, trying to you sacrifice your Roma for gold laner, and when it feels like that you could play a bit more conservative. And I think game 4 they really got punished for that. So hopefully, I think now the onus goes back to LG. You still have a 2-game cushion before you go into that BO1. How are you going to close it out? Well, like, what are you going to start polishing for game 5?
Yeah, I think it does boil down to what you pointed out earlier with taking those pickoffs, those -1s that ended up being a little bit too costly. It seems like there's no laser focus in building an advantage, because I think that's a trap going up against a lineup that what Nightmare Esports showed. When you take out one, you already know that, oh, it's a 5v4 an advantage, and the 5v4 advantage up against a lineup that has an Angela is a little bit higher. How in terms of if you think of the front to back style. But with Nightmare just going, hey, no, we're not going to play that way. If you guys are going to play messy, we're going to make the most out of your mess. If someone's going to be out of position, we'll go ahead and punish them. And then now, Nightmare has also waited a little bit more with people who would want to join in the fight and just surprise. So now for Legion, they have to be so much more calculated with their fighting. It won't come easy to them.
Simple careful also, like, to bring back the elements of that first 2 games where you have this very good formation, very good idea on how to play these team fights. Nightmare, you get Nightmare to start feeling desperate. It's unfortunate stages and you capitalize on kind of the lack of attention to detail, which ironically enough now becomes a bit of a more telling problem that LG has shown in game 3 and 4. The bans from Nightmare so far, double assassin bans, Fanny Hayabusa banned out, so really starting to target onto Joe, who admittedly in that previous game, in game 3 and 4, also shows signs of weakness where he is too willing to go for these 1-for-1 trades.
Yeah. If I'm LG, I think they can double back a little bit on their playstyle with the Alpha. If it's going to be available for them, they can pick Alpha as one of their first 2 picks on the red side. If I'm Nightmare and even though it's going to be risky, it's already match point, I'd be willing to try and go ahead and pick up the Alpha for myself. When you pick up the Alpha as the first pick, you take away a pick from Joe. That should provide a little bit difficulty for foe viewers. It makes LG think, oh, do we pick the Angela so we avoid the Angela Alpha? And if ever LG doesn't pick it, they end up Nightmare will end up with an Angela and Alpha on their hands. If they want to hammer down on that idea as well, they can put the Angela in the mid and then pick up the Cho for Jasmine if it will be open up for him. Again, it's just, I feel like I'm just writing Wattpad fan fiction for drafts right now for Nightmare, but maybe that's what they need.
Yeah, I think the Angela in game 4 really opened up more options for Nightmare, right? And I think as Legion, especially on red side for game 5, you really start considering how important is that Angela to Nightmare Esports, whether we want to go up against it or whether we want to take it. And I think for Legion, the Angela can be a point of concern, but it doesn't have to be the one where they kind of focus on. And I do like the Nightmare still go with the Phobius, not forcing anything such as taking the Alpha away from Joe, but LG, they actually take the Angela away.
Yeah, because now they can go Angeling or Angela Alpha even more so. But they go ahead and pick up the Gatot. It's more of a block pick with that Angela because now Nightmare will have to think, what are we going to give? Are we going to get the Harith with us? Even though we have the Phobias, we don't want an Harith Angela. Are we going to get either the Ling or the Alpha? It's like, at this point, they're picking their poison. So they go ahead and pick up a stable pick for them, which is Jasmine on his show and how good he is with reading the map. But to avoid an Angela 1-1 combo, they pick up the 1-1. It overloads LG for the decision of what do we pair with this Angela?
Yeah, what do we pair for the Angela, and how do we approach Nightmare, right? Like, sure, we have some, we already have a backline engaged with the AOG, but what is the best option for LG? Do they hammer in on that Ling and try to go for backline? But then again, you have Cho there, or do they just go for a safer pick and zone in on the Harith so that you have a strong gold lane?
Yeah, so many great options right now for LG. Sad thing is they can't have all of them. They just need one. They go for the Kali this time around. So it shows their hand. The Angela will go in the mid. They can flex the Gatot and the Kali depending on the lane matchup that we'll see. Oh no, we already see the matchup. So rotational speed, I think the Kali will be put in the roam, and then they'll put the Gatot Kacha in the EXP. Or if they want the Kali to be the one roaming from the EXP lane, they'll put that in the XP to somehow out-rotate the Phobius. Interesting decisions here by LG.
Mm-hmm. Personally feel that you probably want to put Khalid XP and keep the Gatot roam simply because you have this Angela mid, and I know Angela mid you still have some decent clear, but it'd be nice to be able to move out from that lane with the help of this Gatot. And I think if they want to go for some early invade, you still have options for the jungle depending on what's left. I'm looking at a potential Nolan now that the Alpha has been banned out by Nightmare. The Nolan stays, and I think LG can consider it.
I agree with you there. I'm like the Nolan here. If they want high damage early on, and if ever this Gatot is gonna go roam, they go for a trio magic damage. A trio of magic damage in the mid. They can go Julian in the jungle if they want. That could really make them snowball like crazy, but that has a high tendency of overheating. So it's a little bit greedy. The Nolan would be a slightly safer choice, but then again, the other favorites such as the Ling are also still there. I like that Nightmare did take out the Nathan though. I feel like that would have been great. Whoa!
So we get the Irithel. This is what's fun about the best of 7, right? You start to see the deep pockets, like how far are the teams willing to go down the hierarchy of what's considered a meta right now. The Irithel now shows up against the 1-1.
That's crazy. Irithel takes a lot of time, by the way. Maybe they'll offset that with it being paired with an Angela, but as an Irithel user myself before, it's so slow compared to every other gold laner. Sometimes I even feel like the Hanabi's out farming me. So I think LG will do very well with picking up a Julian, because at least you have a level 3 power spike right away that can bridge it to the late mid game for the Irithel.
I feel like I really wish that they took that Nolan for Alice jungle.
Oh, it's the Alice Angela combo.
Talk about overloading. I mean, Angela has many options, but this completely changes the dynamics of LG, right? This is more of a comp that wants to ramp up over time rather than play fast into NM. So if you're a Nightmare, do you just try to snowball?
I'm trying to see like where they can get their snowball from. I mean, the Nolans there. It honestly looks like LG has a lineup that can take control of the jungles and invade early on with the Khalid and the Gacha. However, something about this tells me that there is a chance that Nightmare will just be able to outsmart them, maybe even out macro them throughout the early portions of the game, wherein maybe Legion will go, hey, let's go here to look for kills, while Nightmare is going to the opposite side of the map to either invade the jungle or take towers down.
Yeah, with the lineup that Nightmare has, I am slightly concerned for the Irithel, especially if the Angela is not by her side, right? This Irithel can be really threatened. So we'll see game 5. We got Nightmare Esports on blue side, blue side. Of course, LG on the red side. It's going to be parallel jungling. Both junglers on the same starting on the same side of the map.
So they're probably going to be able to meet up for the same exit. Let's see what their little change will be. Joe already getting invaded and pressured by the Joe of Jazbin. I mean, he's been doing that since yesterday. Getting poked out, needs to get on out of there.
Pretty hard to kind of walk into the jungle, right? You take more damage in early game. You got the Katat, you got the Angela just basically playing that point guard position. So Jasmine, as much as he wants to go in and cause some havoc, it is a bit tough to just walk through this Katat. So Joe actually gets a pretty good start. Will hit that level 4 timing just in time to go in, try to get something done. He gets the retreat onto Jasmine. So Jasmine is forced out. The Opera also cannot stay. LG being able to get the pathing for Joe pretty nice.
Now she's trying to think about it more. It seems like Nightmare doesn't have the right damage profile to be able to deal with this Alice. I mean, the main damage that they want to deal with that Alice is going to be coming from that 1-1. But the 1-1, she won't be at a comfortable spot against this Alice until she builds like a Sea Halberd. If she's going to rush that as her third item, because with that she'll have the attack speed to be able to get out within range. To get out of the Alice's range somewhat, even with the flowing blood repositions that she can get. So I think Nightmare really need to funnel into the gold lane. They can't just be it like, okay, let's dead lane the gold lane, let's get the objectives, and then let's just hope Cammy farms. Now I feel like they really need to give resources for their jungler, for their gold laner.
I'm thinking the same as well, right? Get this all ahead, punish the Irithel, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Fight at the turtle pit, Meow forces Lexi basically out of the fight. You heal back up with the quick send guard. Meanwhile, hard guard actually used onto Joe as Mel is just wasting time. So Nightmare can't really chase onto anyone, and didn't get much done. Maybe mid side though. The rule to Oppa taunted up, can't go into the air. In front of pursuit, first blood going over to the side of LG. Mel most likely would be a trade in return, but so much time has been spent. He got a second quick send guard back up. They even used the AOG. Nard trying to save his teammate. The flicker to get Mel out. This is a true spirit of a support. Nard happily will take that death if need be, but I don't think he would even go down. Jasmine has no kick, so turtle for LG.
Nard's showing the true spirit of a support, while Meow showing the true spirit of a cat. No matter how much you want to get it, it's too wily, it's too agile. What great moves by Meow to be able to get away from that.
Crazy stuff, and this early game has already gone slightly against the expectations of what we were expecting from Nightmare.
Yeah.
Oppa is already on that mid side, so they have to make something happen in that bot lane. Find a kick that's purified out. Weakness points not popped, so Cammy cannot hop into the air. But Oppa, he's gonna get caught again. Infernal Pursuit to buy time. Then just used as well. Jump towards Daylight, but cannot slam down on time.
Oh, Jasmine almost got taken out there, but was able to get out just in time. Yeah, little by little, this is terrifying for Nightmare. Every team fight, every little skirmish where an Opera would spot out the Alice, it's getting a little bit harder to take Joe down. Already has the Clock of Destiny. And by the 7th or 8th minute, that would be an online Alice, considering the stacks that you get with the COD as time goes on.
Heavy crossbow. Jasmine has to break the pursuit cut off by the Eternal Guard, but that's pretty much it. OG in control of the game already, honestly.
I think it's also Nightmare cannot find any angle to like to make the most out of. Jasmine is gonna get chased, but yeah, if it's gonna be a push, it's not there. If it's gonna be invade, it's not quite there. Interesting that they're parking their jungler so far away from everyone else. Like it seems like Opera hasn't been in lane for majority of the game.
Yeah.
He's just been here in mid. Actually, even not Meow. They deadlaned the EXP by leaving it alone and leaving it to the junglers to clear.
He's trying to match each other's movements. There is going to be Joe. Oppa also cut Nar off. Good rule. Jasmine forced to disengage. Heavy crossbow will be activated by Daylight. Jumped on by the jungler. Oppa trying to follow him up. Actually gets the kill. So Oppa takes out the gold laner. But Nar and Joe don't have damage to do with Oppa for now. As Jasmine also barely survives. The turtle goes over to the side of LG. But Mel keeps Soso away. And while all of that was happening, Cammy took top tier 1.
Oh, this is now bad for LG. They've committed so many onto that turtle fight. Too easy for Lexi!
Continue to take on Lexi. Lexi goes down. Now it's going to be up to Oppa, healing up with the Infernal Pursuit. This man is so durable, but not enough double kill for hey.
I think you're one of the few casters who got all the hits in. As LG are going to be getting some more towers now. So forced back. And it's getting out of hand here for Nightmare. However, they are matching it somewhat with some pushes. The far lane, in the opposite lanes of the map, the far side of the map. And I think that's where they can get it from, as LG looks like they're invested in team fighting as 5. They can just try to play the map, but they're team fighting as 4. Opera really needs to be careful. If he's sure that he won't get a kill, he really needs to stop committing those Infernal Pursuits. But it was right what he did earlier, chasing after Daylight.
I say about Jasmine. Tries to go for kick and retreat. Joe actually cannot catch up to it. Jasmine able to get away, but Joe continues the pursuit. Jasmine is just playing that push and pull tug of war AOG used by Nart to try and split the battle lines to get Joe out of it, but Joe decides to re-engage on the Cammy, cannot get close enough. Now LG in a weird spot. Still, Jasmine ends up going down, but maybe have started an engagement. White crossbow tank activated as Cammy goes into the air. There is the vengeance used by Oppa, but cannot slam down to Nart, so Nart survives, and Daylight finds himself on top of Soso. LG finds 2 kills at the cost of none.
That whole fight felt like one team saying, call an ambulance, but not for us. But like multiple times, you thought Nightmare would get punished, you thought LG would get punished, but then Nightmare was the one that lost too, but then LG walked away with it. Crazy. Back and forth. You can tell that now they really locked in. They're counting more abilities. They're taking more ultimates into consideration before they fight. Joe can get this.
Yeah, and while Joe won't be able to get the turtle, Lexi gets it, but has the help of the hard guard. Joe is just tanking up everything. Raging Sandstorm gets Mel out of that. LG disengage.
If ever Nightmare will force the game number 7, it's a mountain to climb. But Joe gets caught!
Too greedy. I suppose he took the purple. No, actually, Turtle Ball went over to Soso. So didn't even get the buff that he was going for. Jasmine just being a pain in the butt, but maybe too much of a pain. Goes down to the crit. And LG finds a free kill.
And look at the adjustment here by Daylight. Usually for Irithos, you see the Great Dragon Spear coming in maybe 4th, maybe even last item, but he goes ahead and picks it up as that 2nd, so he's really mobile. He knows that one of his problems is that he needs to get away from the Phobius if ever, so he said, you know what, I'll just run away from whoever I need to run away from. Now, though, the adjustment, I wonder if that's going to be a Sea Halberd or a Malefic. Nope, Berserkers is going to be his 3rd item. Once that's locked in, I think we might actually start seeing a shift where instead of Joe getting the hard guard, it might just be the Irithel getting it more often.
Basically, the Ballista. It's going to be a camp in the bush. Fortunately, Nart is the only target available. They did force to revitalize out, so still some resources out from LG. Going to be down for the next 70 seconds. Meanwhile, this 1-1 once the bot tier 2 doesn't get it. Nightmare playing the side lane pretty well, honestly.
This is what we were talking about earlier. If LG wants to take fights, Nightmare, you take the turrets. Get far side. Now entry's not going to connect.
2 big ultimates missing, but Jasmine will go down. Too much damage from LG. All of that was happening. I mean, LG is forced to play as a 5-man team, and that's why Nightmare is trying to split the side lane as much as possible. But if this mid goes down, it just changes the landscape of that map control. Thankfully, the Eternal Guard was more than enough to keep it standing, and once more LG needs to go back, do some housekeeping, and they might even lose Nart as Alpha picks him up.
Great read by Nightmare, being able to see that Nart was low and committed the chase to him, which means that's one less front line. They don't. Oh, they will have the Angela and Alice combo to go ahead and die, but Nightmare, I think they're just blitzing the Lord. They can.
They're gonna try Lord dangerously low. Secured by Lexi in time as Mel tries to finish him off, and Joe, with the help of the hard guard in the midst of it, does have enough damage. Goes into the Winter Crowds with the crossbow 10 completely wasted, but they still get Joe, and now it's just the Angela and the Khalid. They do not have enough capacity to take on the fight. Daylight also goes down off screen. So Lord for Nightmare, and they find 3 kills.
LG must be quaking in their boots. What a stop by Soso. He was able to get the Deathly Grasp in time to leave Joe terrified. That's why I really thought the Alice could just walk up or Flowing Blood in. But when it looked like the Alice was like stuttering in place, it's like, what's going on? I saw that little Terrifier right above Joe's head. What a stop again by Soso, and Jasmine holding on to the way of the Dragon Kick until after the Lord was gone, so that he doesn't accidentally send the Alice within Retribution range. Nightmare, do you believe we've seen a Game 7 in FPL Philippines, a Game 7 in NA, almost reverses. I wouldn't be surprised if Nightmare are using that as fuel to their fire right now.
Yeah, we have seen some intervention and just unadulterated willpower. You can feel it in Jasmine's bones right now. Extremely confident with how he kind of positions all outer tier turrets down for LG. A 2k lead for NM. Jasmine might have been up all more than he could shield, though. Had to use the flicker, and LG could not chase him, so Jasmine survives.
LG couldn't commit the chase there because even though Jasmine already used his flicker, he still had a Way of the Dragon to mess up the flow of their team fight and members of Nightmare to go ahead and answer. At the same time, Legion wasn't taking care of their mid lane, so it was a little bit too shoved in. Because if ever the risk of that is, let's say they suffered a massive loss, there's a minion wave in mid that would already lead to progress into the tower in mid, maybe even an endgame push. That's why they couldn't chase.
So how does this go right now if you are LG? Clearly, the window to get that snowball going with this Angela Alice combo has passed, and now they're on the back foot.
Yeah. Starlium Scythe already for this Alice. She has been behind in terms of the gold. With the aggression that they've been going for, too easy for Lexi has just been focused on the farm. Even though Legion has more kills, remember there was that awkward moment where it looked like too easy for Lexi was the EXP laner because he was the one clearing minion waves with the EXP even during the laning phase, clearing his side of the jungle, going to mid to clear, and then back to EXP. But it's all paid out. It was a long-term investment that leads to him having 9,000 gold, 2,000 almost over the Alice, and up to his 4th core item. LG might actually be outgunned at this point.
the only person who has more net worth than his counterpart is Daylight. And it's not even by a lot, less than 1,000. This Lord definitely going over to the side of MM. They find a kick, AOG, as the counter engage measure. Oppa is just soaking up all the damage, jumping to the back. Mel out of the fight already. Daylight wants to help out his team, but he's not getting enough damage. But the rest of his team will though. Joe finding the perfect angle to hit that backline, and LG strikes back with 4 of their own.
Triple for LG, and just when we thought they were outgunned, this now looks like their best chance to make a commanding lead. That's too easy. Gets bursted. This might be it, Husky.
It might be it. Now Vader with the Winter Crown at the end, and LG, they say, damn the Lord, we are going to run it down anyway. So Legion Gaming will take the MCCM Grand Finals 4-1 over Nightmare Esports.
The relief on the shoulders and the joy on the faces of Legion Esports. They will not get reversed this time around. Nightmare, not completely the nightmare that they had last season, getting swept a little bit closer, but still heartbreaking as Legion stands tall yet again in Mekong.
Really felt like Nightmare had it all figured out and they were starting to make progress, but Legion Gaming just a bit sharper in these crucial team fights. And the target selection, the backline dives in that final fight when it felt like all hope was lost. Still, good to see, you know, smiles on the players' face, sportsmanship between them. They've been in this spot plenty of times. And the best part, they will still be traveling to Malaysia together for the M6 wildcards.
Oh, that's sweet. You can just tell Joe is taking his time complimenting. If I'm not mistaken, that's too easy for Lexi. He's probably commenting on his performance in that game number 4. Yeah, he was commentating his opposing jungler. He was giving him a thumbs up. It's like, I don't know. I don't speak Vietnamese, but it looked like the English equivalent of, wow, damn, bro, you almost got us. You're really good. What the heck?
what was... They came prepared for sure. Oh, I just love the spirit of these men. I mean, again, so technically we're getting almost the same representatives as for Mekong for wildcards last year. Of course, not Zero Zenith this time is Legion Esports. Nonetheless, though, again, congratulations for such a creative showing to close out the grand finals. Right, Alice jungle, Irithel gold lane. We completely out of our expectations.
Yeah, just when I thought that they were outgunned, a harsh reminder that, yeah, Irithel, she takes time, but once you give her time, once you give her the gold and the items, it would really hurt. And just when we thought that Nightmare would be on the way to forcing a Game 6, maybe even going all the way, no, Legion says, nope, this is going to end right here, right now.
Yeah, we've given you enough. We've given you the liberty of playing, you know, the Ling Angela. You've had enough fun, right? Now it's time for us to shut it down. We've missed lunchtime by a little bit. We got to catch up to our meal. Either way, again, this is quite a grand final. In fact, I think the entire MCCM has been pretty interesting with so many different teams from different regions. But at the same time, it's also, again, their understanding and how they conceive the game of MLBB. We've got so many interesting picks that I wouldn't even remotely consider as an option in, you know, MPLY at least. But here we see them in the flesh and, you know, working out in ways that I wouldn't even imagine.
Yeah, I agree with you there. This is the first time I've seen a region so committed to doing that mid-EXP split after a very long time. That was a more common option in the past metas we've had around the Season 7, Season 8 era. But then now, it's like, it's almost a necessity for them, wherein we put the mid laner and the EXP, park them there, make sure they hit their level 4s really quickly. We'll put the fighter with a great engaging ult in the mid and fast rotations as well, to be able to be a nuisance for the opposing junglers, especially if they have good access to the jungle at level 3. It's a great understanding of the game that I feel like, even though sometimes the execution of it can be quite messy, it's a great idea. And I think the keyword you mentioned is creativity from this region. I hope it gets a lot of opportunities to shine in M6.
Maybe that's kind of the recipe needed, right? You go against the norm, you fight against the curve, the tide. and you surprise your opponents. I mean, this entire kind of qualifiers, we've seen some very important picks like this Khalid, for example. It really does kind of hit home the point that you brought up, right? And how we did that XP mid lane swap when Khalid brings on so much value, move around the map fast, clear away fast, and has such a valuable ultimate. And maybe that's why a lot of these teams, even since yesterday, have been banning out the Khalid. But once it goes through, well, we really see the impact it brings.
Yeah, I think these two teams are definitely something you have to watch out for. How they will fare against the giants of like Latam and Turkey could be difficult. But again, I agree with you. As long as they don't stop that creativity, that they aren't afraid to bring out their unique ideas into the world stage, because for them it's comfort. For the rest of the world, it's what the heck is that? That's unique. But they make it comfortable. It could be poisonous.
Yeah, I mean, even our MVP Nart, right, on this Gator, we've seen him on heroes like Tigreal, also the Jawhead for 2 games in a row. Really, very all-rounder, right? He's playing heroes that operate very differently, and I think when you consider the fact that these two teams are heading over to wildcards, and you look at the teams in wildcards, it really spices things up. We have Fireflux, who fell to S2G in MTC. We got RQ Akira, who also, only made it to wildcards. I mean, the Mongols as well. That's kind of a shocker from ENC Mongolia. This wildcard is just continuously shaping up to be more and more intense.
I'm excited for our wildcard stage with some big names there. I feel like, again, this is the meta wherein it increases the chances of like underdogs getting the win, because mistakes are so much more punishable. That even the best of the best in the world, the powerhouse regions of Indonesia and Malaysia, wherein if they commit an error, I will not be surprised if a team from Mekong will be able to take a game from them. And again, if a wildcard team makes it to Swiss,
oh man, Swiss round is crazy. But let's hear the interview of the winners.
Vô địch của giải MCCM năm nay. Thì bây giờ có lẽ là Vi sẽ xin hỏi đội trưởng trước đi, là mình đã trở thành hạt giống số 1 để tiến đến giải M6. Thì ở giải M6 sắp tới, anh mong muốn những gì mà đội mình sẽ được đem lại được?
Giải M6 sắp tới thì mình mong muốn mình và BanggMobile Esports vào chung kết để giành tiếp slot đi M6.
Yeah. Và vừa rồi chúng ta đã có một trận đấu rất là thú vị. Và một lần nữa, đây là lần trong rất là 2 ngày ngắn ngủi thôi, chúng ta đã vô địch 2 giải, là giải TMC và giải MCCM. Thì hiện tại cảm xúc của bạn là như thế nào?
I'm very happy because
I got work at 4. It's at 5.
The tournaments for 4 days in a row. It's very hard, like having to win two trophies in.
No. I got.
We had
so
to train so hard for this. We trained every day for the past 2 months. I mean, we've had trouble, like Wi-Fi problem, or some of my players have to go to the school. He has to go to work. We tried so hard, we tried our best to train as much as we can with the amount of time that we had, and we're very happy to be able to take away 2 trophies for Vietnam.
Yeah, thank you. Và các bạn biết đó, để đến được vị trí vô địch ngày hôm nay thì đội Legion Esports đã trải qua những trận đấu rất dài. Bởi vì từ giải VMC cho tới MCCM, các bạn ấy đã phải chiến đấu liên tục trong vòng 4 ngày để có thể lên ngôi vô địch ngày hôm nay. Và tất nhiên cũng sẽ có những khó khăn trải qua để đạt được điều đó. Ok. Rồi, và bây giờ thì Vi sẽ được xin phỏng vấn một thành viên tiếp theo. Thì trong xuyên suốt mùa giải lần này, đâu là khoảnh khắc mà bạn tự hào nhất? Đâu là khoảnh khắc mà bạn ghi nhớ và mình nghĩ là đâu là kỷ niệm đẹp nhất với bạn?
Với em thì chắc là khoảnh khắc vô địch thôi. Tại vì chứ game dễ quá, chả có khoảnh khắc gì để chú ý cả.
Yeah, thì chắc chắn rồi. Khoảnh khắc vô địch sẽ luôn là một khoảnh khắc rất là quý giá. Và còn bạn, bạn cảm thấy rằng là trong tất cả các trận vừa rồi, đâu là trận mà bạn thể hiện được năng lực của mình tốt nhất và gọi là tự tin tỏa sáng nhất?
Em nghĩ thì trừ trận thua ra thì trận nào em là tự tin nhất và tỏa sáng đúng lúc ạ. Tuy có thể là đầu game này có thể là hơi mờ nhạt, nhưng mà chỉ cần team có thể câu cho em đến tầm giữa đến cuối trận thì em chắc chắn sẽ không làm họ thất vọng.
Ok, cảm ơn bạn. Và bây giờ thì còn với bạn thì sao? Bây giờ mình đã chính thức ghi danh tên mình vào giải. Oh, yes. And how do you feel about when you become a winner?
It's a usual feeling for me because we won last time as well. But I would like to say one more thing. Nightmare is a strong team, and I wish the best of luck to them in M6 wildcard. And finally, you guys may be Nightmare, but we have Daylight.
Yes, thank you. Và chàng trai tiếp theo, chàng trai cuối cùng trong đội ngày hôm nay. Thì bây giờ mình đã trở thành nhà vô địch rồi. Thì đối với giải M6 sắp tới đi, điều mà bạn mong ước nhất sẽ là gì?
Đó là bọn em có thể đi càng sâu càng tốt, có thể lần đầu tiên vượt qua được vòng wildcard.
Rồi, và Vi tin chắc rằng là với những gì mà Legion Esports đã đem lại cũng như là những điều mà các bạn ấy thể hiện thì cái việc mà mình sẽ đi sâu hơn nữa, vượt qua vòng wildcard sẽ là một điều rất khả thi. Chúc cho tất cả bạn thật sự may mắn nhé. Và bây giờ thì trước khi mà kết thúc phần phỏng vấn thì anh bạn ở bên đây mới nói với Vi là em có thể nói thêm một ít điều nữa không? Thì có lẽ là Vi cũng sẽ xin nhường mic cho bạn để bạn có thể chia sẻ thêm trước khi mà mình kết thúc phỏng vấn nhé.
Nói chung là em muốn cảm ơn tất cả mọi người, em cảm ơn ban tổ chức. Tại vì ở trong nước Việt Nam mình rất là lâu rồi mà mình không có đánh giải offline như thế này. Và em cảm giác như em rất là vui. Từ lúc em qua Việt Nam đến giờ em chưa bao giờ đánh offline. Thì đây là lần đầu em đánh offline, em rất là vui luôn. Thì em nói chung là em cũng muốn cảm ơn thôi. And to Nightmare, thank you guys so much for being our competitor. We've been playing together for 3 seasons, and each season we always like top. We're always at the top of the group stage, or either one of us are always in the finals. Always, you guys are a very good team. I'm sorry for shouting at you earlier, but yeah, I support you guys so much, and let's show the M6 wildcard what Mccm has to show.
Cảm ơn Legion Esports đã đem đến cho chúng tôi những trận đấu rất tuyệt vời và mãn nhãn. Và bây giờ thì có lẽ là xin mời các bạn sẽ về vị trí nghỉ ngơi của mình để chuẩn bị đến buổi lễ trao giải nhé. Cảm ơn các bạn. Quý vị thân mến, trước khi đến với buổi trao giải cho các đội trong ngày hôm nay, chúng tôi cần ít phút để giải lao. Xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị và đừng vội chuyển kênh nhé.
So congratulations again to Legion Esports, and I just love the sportsmanship, right? Like they say that they have been playing together for 3 seasons, and it's always one or the other. But the end goal is to show the world what Mccm is made of, and now it makes me a lot more excited for the wildcards. Now that both of them will be there.
Yeah, hopefully they get to put on a good showing there. Maybe some surprise results to really put Mekong on the map, Vietnam and Laos on the map. And I found it really funny that Joe even said, "I'm sorry for yelling at you," and then it immediately cuts to the members of Nightmare just going, "Hey, it's fine, we understand. We've been doing this for 3 seasons in a row now." So that's really cool. And yeah, we'll still have the awarding ceremony in just a bit. We're just letting Legion to allow them to celebrate in their achievement here today.
Yeah, I mean, coming from MPL MY, these shoutings, they're very normal, right? With people running across the stage, we got people coming out with dances. This is pretty normal, but I like the fact that, you know, even between those two teams, there's no animosity, right? I think the rivalry is very healthy. And then you look at the wildcard format as well. Even though both of them will make it there, only one of them will make it through. So there is still going to be competition, and now they not only have to compete amongst themselves, but with 6 other teams.
Yeah, this wildcard stage is probably the most interesting wildcard we've had. If I'm not mistaken, it's only the second wildcard yet, but it's been already been a huge leap up in terms of like who's actually going to be competing in there. The fact that after all of that, they're going to go into a Swiss stage. So yeah, it's going to be really cool.
It's pretty crazy that we have a Swiss stage, and not just any Swiss stage, but best of one Swiss stage. I don't know how the teams are going to handle this, right? Because you don't know who you're up against. You're drawing drawing lots according to your results, your recent results. But the fact that you only have one game and 3 shots at it, this is bound to set us up for some pretty insane storylines, right? We've already seen upsets in our local region, so M6 is going to bring up more of that for sure.
Yeah, and again, just to echo what Joe said, what you said earlier. And I think the wish for everyone, even watching in chat right now, that it's great if the MLBB global esports scene has some new contenders rise, even if they aren't going to be like top 4, top 3 contenders. I mean, that's the ultimate wish, to see them make it that far. But just to say and get away results that you don't expect. Like, how crazy would it be if you suddenly see that Legion Esports has eliminated RQ Akira from wildcards? Like, what? What has happened? Firefox and Rosa fell to Nightmare? Like, come on.
That would be crazy. That would be, I think, that would be historical, right? I don't think we've ever had any of that happen. But also shout out to Legion. I think they dropped this banger line. You guys might be Nightmare, but we have Daylight. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's the key to Legion beating Nightmare. But shout out to these guys being able to come up with these bars while playing in the grand finals. I could never.
Yeah. So I really hope that Daylight continues to improve. Again, I think he's relatively the newer inclusion into this lineup for Legion Esports, with a very experienced squad around him, and I think they play around their gold laner very well. You could see that. I think just here and there, if you're Legion, and I think same goes for Nightmare, especially for the junglers, those aggressive invades, need to be a little bit more careful with that.
Let's go to the award ceremony.
Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã trở lại với buổi trao giải của Mccm. Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, sau những trận đấu căng thẳng và đầy cảm xúc, chúng ta đã chứng kiến những màn trình diễn xuất sắc đến từ các đội tuyển tham gia Am Challenge Cup Mekong. Đây không chỉ là sân chơi để các tuyển thủ thể hiện kỹ năng của mình, mà còn là nơi để kết nối cộng đồng esports trong khu vực Mekong, nâng tầm thể thao điện tử trong lòng người hâm mộ trên khắp thế giới.
Ladies and gentlemen, after an intense and emotional series of matches, we witnessed amazing performances from all the teams competing in the AM Challenge Cup Mekong. This tournament has not only been a platform for players to showcase their skill, but also a place to connect the esports communication across the Mekong region and lifting up the profile of esports in the hearts of fans everywhere.
Và bây giờ sẽ là thời khắc để chúng ta vinh danh những đội tuyển đã đạt thành tích rất cao trong giải MCCM năm nay. Không để quý vị chờ lâu hơn nữa. Ngay bây giờ chúng tôi cũng sẽ công bố giải thưởng lên đến 5.000 đô. Trong đó, giải vô địch sẽ bao gồm 3.000 đô và một suất tham dự M6 Championship.
Champion with $3,000 and as long as the M6 Championship.
Giải Á quân sẽ bao gồm 1.000 đô và một suất tham dự M6 Championship.
Runner-up $1,000 as long as the M6 Championship.
Hai đội đồng hạng 3 sẽ có giải thưởng là 500 đô.
Third place $500.
Và ngay bây giờ sẽ xin được mời lên sân khấu hai đội đã đạt được hạng 3. Đó chính là T-Final và Legion Esports.
Please welcome on the stage Team Final from Vietnam and Legion Esports from Laos.
Xin được mời lên sân khấu ông Lê Hoàng, Retail Manager of Restream. xin được trân trọng mời lên sân khấu ông Vũ Hoàng Sơn, trưởng bộ phận thể thao điện tử, công ty cổ phần Ventap.
Please come closer. We are honored to invite on stage Mr. Vũ Hoàng Sơn, Esports Manager from Tap Games, and Mr. Lê Hoàng, Retail Manager of Realme. Once again, big round of applause for two teams, Team Final and Legion Esports.
Sau những trận đấu căng thẳng như vậy thì Final đến từ Việt Nam và Legion Esports đến từ Lào đã đồng hạng 3 và nhận được vinh danh là giải thưởng 500 đô. Xin mời ban tổ chức sẽ trao giải thưởng cho hai đội.
Xin được chúc mừng cả hai đội rất nhiều và bây giờ thì mời hai đội chúng ta sẽ tiếp tục di chuyển về vị trí của mình để theo dõi phần trao giải tiếp theo. Cảm ơn các bạn nhé. And now you can come back your seats and keep watching the upcoming next.
Tiếp theo xin được chúc mừng và mời lên sân khấu đội thi đã giành được danh hiệu Á quân tại Am Challenge Cup Mekong, Nightmare Esports from Laos.
And now we are honored to invite on stage Mr. David, Esports Manager, Moonton Esports.
Xin được chúc mừng Nightmare Esports. Các bạn ấy đã thể hiện rất xuất sắc trong mùa giải lần này và đạt được vị trí Á quân.
Once again, big round of applause for the runoff at the MCCL. Thank you, Nightmare Esports from Laos. Thank you and congratulations. And now you can come back your seats.
Ngay bây giờ chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau vinh danh nhà vô địch của MCCM. Và đó chính là đội Legion Esports from Việt Nam.
And now it's very time for us to honor the champion of the M Challenge Cup Mekong. Congratulations, Legion Esports from Vietnam.
Xin được trân trọng mời lên sân khấu ông Đỗ Việt Hùng, Tổng thư ký Hội Thể thao Điện tử Giải trí Việt Nam sẽ trao chức vô địch cho đội vô địch MCCM Legion Esports.
We are honored to invite to come to stage Mr. Đỗ Việt Hùng, General Secretary of Vietnam Professional and Electronic Sport Association to come to stage and present trophy and rewards for the team that won the champion in this legion.
Một lần nữa, Legion Esports lại nâng cao chiếc cúp vô địch. Và đây là chiếc cúp vô địch của MCCM. Các bạn ấy sẽ trở thành đội hạt giống số 1 để tiến đến với giải M6.
Congratulations, Legion Esports. Yes. And once again, you can raise trophy. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much.
Và bây giờ thì xin được mời cả 3 đội còn lại cũng như là quý vị đại biểu cũng sẽ tiến lên sân khấu để có thể cùng nhau chụp một bức hình kỷ niệm cho giải đấu lần này. Xin trân trọng kính mời.
We also respectfully invite the delegates and the 3 winning teams to come on stage, take photo with the Mekong Regional in the MCCM. Everyone, look at this camera and raise your hand. After that, say yeah and MCCM. All right? 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, everyone.
Và bây giờ thì xin mời quý vị và các bạn thân mến, hành trình của Am Challenge Cup Mekong đã đi đến hồi kết nối những tài năng sáng giá nhất của thể thao điện tử trong cộng đồng esports của khu vực Mekong và tìm ra 2 đội xuất sắc nhất để cùng tranh tài tại giải M6. Đây sẽ là một ngày rất thú vị cũng như tràn đầy kỷ niệm của các đội tuyển.
Ladies and gentlemen, the journey of the M Challenge Cup Mekong has come to the end, connecting the brightest esports talents from across the Mekong region and found the 2 teams that will compete in the MC Championship at the end of November. Once again, we would like to thank all teams for participating in this year's tournament, making the M Challenge Cup Mekong a great success.
Một lần nữa xin gửi lời cảm ơn đến tất cả các đội đã tham gia mùa giải năm nay và cùng nhau góp phần tạo nên một mùa giải Am Challenge Cup Mekong thật thành công. Xin được cảm ơn các đơn vị đối tác cũng đã đồng hành cùng với chương trình, những đơn vị tài trợ đã hỗ trợ để chương trình có thể được diễn ra. Realme, đơn vị tài trợ thiết bị thi đấu với điện thoại Realme 13+ 5G, sở hữu chip Dimensity 7300, tiến trình 4 nanomet, trải nghiệm chơi game mượt mà ở mức 90 FPS với màn hình OLED tần số quét 120Hz.
We are honored to say thank you to our sponsor, Realme, the sponsor providing competition devices with the Realme 13 Plus 5G, equipped with the Dimensity 7300 chip built on a 4nm process. It offers a smooth gaming experience at 90 FPS on an OLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate.
Công ty cổ phần viễn thông FPT, đối tác cung cấp đường truyền Internet chính thức của sự kiện. FPT Telecom cam kết mang đến trải nghiệm kết nối ổn định, phủ sóng rộng khắp và bảo mật cao, giúp các tuyển thủ thi đấu thăng hoa.
Partner FPT Telecommunication Transport Company provides the official internet connection for the event. FPT Telecom is committed to experiencing stable connection, widespread coverage everywhere, and high security, helping players flourish.
Nước cốt gà Brand có chứa kerosene, được chứng minh khoa học hỗ trợ sự tập trung, tăng cường sức khỏe trí não.
Brand Chicken Essence containing carnosine is scientifically proven to support focus and enhance brand health.
Vian Travel, công ty lữ hành top đầu Việt Nam, đưa bạn đi muôn nơi, khám phá thế giới theo cách của riêng bạn.
Vian Travel is the top travel company in Vietnam, taking you everywhere, exploring the world in your own way.
Một lần nữa, chúng tôi chân thành cảm ơn tất cả các đơn vị, cũng như cảm ơn tất cả các bạn khán giả đang theo dõi qua sóng livestream và các bạn khán giả đã cổ vũ cho các đội tuyển trong khán phòng ngày hôm nay. Và bây giờ, xin chào và hẹn gặp lại!
Thank you everyone watching online and raise your hand once again.
And that